Hey guys, it's Heidi. I wanted to start this video off with a little introduction today. It's going to go a little bit differently than some of my past interviews. First of all, I finally got the audio and video on point, I believe, so that should be a nice change. We learn as we go, right? So I'm excited for that journey and really grateful for all of the different things that I'm learning and continuing to learn to improve a lot of that quality. I wanted to go ahead and start off introducing Christy LeCuyer in a little bit of a different way. I have two videos that are introducing her that will kind of set the energy for the interview. The interview itself lasts about 2 hours. Following the interview is going to be a compilation of videos that I took over the weekend of 2 different Kambo ceremonies and some little snippets and clips of that to kind of give you an experience and a better understanding of it. So hopefully you stay tuned to the end. I know it's a long video. Feel free to pause it and come back to it. I definitely think it's something that most people should explore and take a look at and at least look into to have a more familiar reality on it rather than this mysterious unknown, from a place of maybe judgment or uncertainty or unknowing. We're living this life and it's full of beautiful, amazing, different, unique things. So I definitely encourage you to stay tuned and definitely stick around for that at the end also. The very beginning, the first video is going to be of Christy actually meeting the frog that produces the medicine for Kambo, followed by a short little yoga video that she did that's really beautiful. And I just wanted to share with you to start off and so you can really get a feel for her energy and who she is. I'm going to put a little disclaimer on this. Most of this interview, I believe the first half of it, the first hour, is fairly kid-friendly. Around about an hour or so, I am going to say that little ones should probably not be around for that one or watch with headphones or watch after they go to bed. It's up to you. It depends on how open you are with your children. Some of you may be very open and open to them learning lessons. However, a lot of what is covered over, I believe, most of the second half is more of something that I would say is PG 14, 17 rated R more topics. So I definitely wanted to put that out there. Some of the subjects that will be covered, so we go into a little bit of the lack of integrity in the spiritual community and what that may look like and manifest as sometimes, which could be anything from Tantra to spiritual rape or even on the physical side of that. We do cover some of those things and we cover some of the different things that people may look to for healing for that and how vast that area can look. We do cover a lot of other subjects that are more in that general area. So I wanted to definitely put that out there that, even though my other videos have a curse word or two here or there, that kind of thing, they're fairly kid-friendly. I wanted to keep this as authentic as possible. I do love having the idea of having a family show, but I also think that there's also time for real talk with adults or mature, teens that may really need to hear some of this stuff. This is real world stuff, whether, not every teen, person, adolescent, adult is going to go through some of this stuff, but there definitely are those that do. And for those that do, this kind of real talk can be something that's very healing for you. So hopefully this helps. Hopefully this is exciting and entertaining. We definitely laugh a lot and have a good time. Christy's one of my absolute best friends. I love her so much. One of the things I love about her more than anything is her authenticity and her integrity. So enjoy her story. Thank you for being here and look forward to seeing you again soon. Stop now. No? Okay. Oh, there you go. Hi. Oh my God, I love him.
Isn't he beautiful?
You want to get on me?
And the dog story.
Style, you feel that soul, but still you play the radio. I'd
something that I want to hear. All that criticism in my head goes out my ears. The right resolve is never given, need to grab a hold. Despite it all, think I should let it go. So don't change. He says don't stray, stay your own. They say follow where we go. These days kings race for their thrones. Their tall tales boost their egos. Lately I sit back with the view. Take all this time to think anew. Ways to express what's going unsung. Translate them to my native tongue. They've got ideas, we've got ours too. The ways to dress, what not to do. As this has grown, more hands reach out. They pull my strings, play off my I'm paranoid, I'm tripping. We 10 feet from slipping. Mixtape days we missing, but I know these songs will play. I'm senseless, but I'm focused. You fell asleep when I wrote this. We so dope, don't quote this. Yeah, I know these songs will stay. Tell me something that I want to hear. All that criticism in my head goes out my ears. The right resolve is never given, need to grab a hold. Despite it all, think I should let it go. So don't change. He says don't stray, stay your own. They say follow where we go. These days kings race for their thrones. Their tall tales boost their egos. Lately I sit back with the view. Take all this time to think anew. Ways to express what's going unsung. Translate them to my native tongue.
What's spiritual bypassing? What's spiritual bypassing to you guys? No, for real. I give me your definition of spiritual bypassing. Look, we grabbed our chais. This is Christy. Hi guys, LeCuyer. She's awesome. That's my introduction. That's all we need. Yep. So what is your definition of spiritual bypassing? How I perceive it when other people talk about that? Or yes. That's perfect. Not wanting to accept something that they are struggling with. So what I love about that is that they don't want to accept themselves. So you're standing in your acceptance. So they have to label that acceptance because it makes them uncomfortable. Right. That's spiritual bypassing. Jeez, can we say it? This spiritual community stuff has really got me. It's definitely, this is how this whole interview is going to be, just so you guys know. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. If we're looking for professionalism with me, it's not really going to happen that way. We're going to get more authentic. Yeah, that is the whole point of this whole thing. Like this is going to be authenticity to the max. Yeah. So the spiritual community side of things is really interesting because there's a lot of things that we feel we're striving to do or be to be spiritual. And you and I have had a lot of conversations about this the last couple of days in many different realms. And we're going to try to touch on all of those realms. But so I'm kind of like, where do we start? But there's a lot of things like it's almost like, are we trying too hard? I think that, and this is just for me going from, like we talked about, from Christianity. And that's how I grew up. And everything was very organized religion, and it was, and none of the things that I'm saying, by the way, are judging to anything, because I am open to so many things. But when you're in the dogma of religion. Like that's all that you're allowed to know and to be.
Right.
So pulling myself out of that and knowing and being it to the depth of my core, and then pulling myself out of that and then finding yoga, which completely changed my life. And it, in some way it deepened my faith, the faith part of it outside of the religion. And then in some ways it freed me to seek and to search. And so as I was seeking and searching in the whole yoga community, I just started noticing like you get into it and you're like, wow, this is amazing.
Right.
Like this stuff is great. Like everybody is so loving and so centered and so grounded, and all these new words that we get to.
There's a whole new universe.
The word vomit as you get onto the other end of it.
Yeah.
But the word vomit, it's amazing in the beginning. You're like, wow.
It's so like enticing, and it's interesting. It's new. It's this whole new realm, especially when you come from. So I came from a similar background, but we had my dad who was always going to one church that his parents went to, and then my mom was always going to like the church of whatever guy she was dating. So we've been to like Quaker, to Assembly of God, to Presbyterian, to I mean, we've experienced a little bit of all of it. But yeah, like, and then you jump into this like new world of, you know, yoga. And, you know, for me, like it was, I went to Japan when I was 20 or 21 and was introduced to Buddhism. And I was like, what's this temple we're walking up to? Right. And there's incense, and it was this whole new thing. And then shortly after went into yoga, and it's like, yeah, there's this whole new realm of possibilities and new language and everything that you're, you know, kids do that. They're like, they're like, hey, what's up?
And the possibilities are beautiful, and they open you up to a lot of different views of yourself, which helps you to become more of who you are. But what I found was that you start to become more of what that is. So you get into the yoga and you become the yoga, and you become, you start identifying yourself as that.
Right.
So, you know, I was in the whole yoga community, and I loved teaching, and was, you know, managing a studio for a while, and then owned a studio. And that was a whole different ballgame of owning a studio. And the reason I actually opened the studio, which I don't think that we've talked about this, is because I was going around like to different studios in the area, and I kept just finding like there's cliques everywhere you go. Like these groups of people that get together, and they're like high and mighty in what they're doing. And I was like, wait a second, like in yoga, out of all things, this is going to be in yoga. And then I started seeing like the teachers and like the leaders of the community, which we're going to talk a lot about, like slandering each other behind each other's back and like talking bad about each other. And then the teachers were competing with the teachers. And I'm like, is this fucking for real?
Right.
Like, and nobody's being authentic. Like nobody is really being real. You're coming in and no offense, I love Lululemon. I can't really afford it anymore, but I love Lululemon. I mean, wait, I can afford it right now, but I couldn't for a very long time. Because I was opening up the yoga studio and paying for the electric to stay on people. You could have said thank you. No, I'm kidding. Joking. I loved every moment of it, I swear. What was I saying?
Well, being an owner and seeing the clicks. And
so I ended up opening up a yoga studio because I was managing at one studio and I loved it. It was, I mean, that one studio I managed, that was amazing. It still really is super amazing. I never saw a whole lot of what I saw in other studios there.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But
well, you put your energy into that too.
Yeah.
So it's a little, it's
yeah.
It's still amongst the circles.
Right. Exactly. And the energy, you know, it always stays there.
Yeah.
So the reason that I opened up my studio is because I was seeing the things that I felt just personally that were missing in each studio. Like one studio, you have to go in and you have to be super, super quiet and put your mat down and don't speak a word. And like I got shushed by a teacher because I like asked a question to a mat next to me. I'm like, you're fucking kidding me? I'm a grown adult and you're shushing me like a child. And then another studio, this was the best one. I was going through something like, you know, whatever I was going through at the time, which to us at that time is the whole world.
Right.
And I was maybe like 30 seconds late, and I was walking down the hall, like they could see me at the door, and I was walking to get in, and she looked right at me and she locked the door. I was like 30 seconds late.
Are you serious?
No, I swear to God. And in that moment I was like, okay, like this is what I'm going to create. I'm going to create something that I feel is missing. And that's just my own feeling. And I'm going to create a space that
doesn't have the things that were hurting me and making me feel bad about myself in the studios, and then create the space of the things that I felt that were missing.
You know what's interesting is I'm having this flashback to being in 4th grade when I went to, it was the only year I did this, but I went to a Catholic school, and it's even regular public school, you know, it's like, oh, you're late, go get a tardy slip. Oh, it's like, what are all of these unnecessary steps that we're doing just to have some type of like punishment, or, you know, it's this like indoctrination of, you know, oh, be here at a certain time and da-da-da. And one of the studios that I was going to, they had this thing where it was like, there were these 4 women that would always go up to the front, and the teacher even would be like, oh, those are, that's so-and-so's spot.
Right.
And I'm like,
oh my gosh, that was a real thing. Like you took my spot, and like, is there like a,
do you pay rent?
Is your name there on like a little sticky?
Yeah.
That's your spot?
Yeah. So, I mean, I would go up and purposely roll my mat out,
oh my God,
and do it anyway, and just be like, and then like, you know, what it's like.
And you said this was in 4th grade?
Well, the Catholic school. The Catholic school was in 4th grade. That was,
I was going to say, we're still acting like that as adults.
But no, the yoga class was like that.
Oh my god.
The yoga class was like it was like the same 4 women would always go up to the front. It was like, you knew that wasn't so-and-so spot or so-and-so spot or so-and-so spot, because they like to be in the mirror and, you know, get in their downward dog and take a peek.
In their Lululemon.
In their Lululemon. And and I was like, you know what? I'm going to roll my mat out there today and just see what happens. And like literally, like the lady came in and she was like,
oh no.
Oh, offended. I'm like, lady, it's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay. And I only did it because I wanted to test the boundary of the ego, or, you know, I don't know. Maybe I was being like childish myself in that moment, and of just kind of being like, I'm just gonna shake this up a little bit.
If somebody was in my spot, I'd be like, oh, awesome, new person I can put my mat next to. What's your name?
Right.
Like kindness, people. It's not that hard.
Right.
Yeah. So I created my studio to have like freedom.
Yeah.
So it was wide open. And I remember when we were doing the build out, somebody was like, you have to have a walk-in, and it has to be like a walk-in and a desk where like people pay. And I was like, fuck you. I will never do that. Like that's the whole reason that I'm trying to open the studio, is to create so that there's no separation. So that when people walk in the doors, they're hugging each other on the way in and on the way out. And I didn't even have locks on my doors. I made sure to pay an extra like $600 or $800 for push doors. Like commercial push doors, so that there was no lock on my doors, because I refused to do it.
That is awesome.
Yeah. So to the one that locked the door on me, because you know who you are, I love you. Yeah. So, and then that's what the studio was about. It was all about freedom and love and acceptance. And people talked and talked and talked up until the second that the teacher taught. And sometimes the teacher had to be like, hello, like, and that's the space that, you know, I felt for me. And now there's definitely people that don't want that type of space, and that's cool. There's a studio down the street.
Exactly. Yeah.
But, you know, I created that freedom of expression to allow people to be free and to be able to have a platform of acceptance of who they are. Like, I'm giving you permission to show up authentic and raw.
See, and it's interesting because when we were talking about spirituality, I think when it really comes down to it, none of any of the woo-woo, any of that, which all of that has its purpose and all of it has its teachings, and like, I'm not like poo-pooing that in any way. However, we can get hung up on that. I'm not going to poo-poo that, but we get hung up on it. And, you know, we get hung up on the poo-poo. Like, why do we do that? It's poo-poo. Like, leave it alone. That's gross.
You can tell you're a mom.
This is not the first time poop has been talked about on this show. My very first interview, actually, the cat was using the litter box, and we were like,
nice.
Like, that's fun. but you know, beneath it all, it's like, just show up and be authentic.
Yeah.
Be authentic. Like, even if somebody's struggling through stuff and going through a time, it's like, okay, you have to let it out, let it flow, let it do its thing, to be able to move past those layers and move through those layers, because none of us came here perfect. None of us came here with the, not the intention, but like, with the stigma of like, we have to be perfect, but we're all always trying to do that.
And this is how we're learning in our imperfections, and actually like me a lot of the time showing up as authentic as I can. It just gives the other people permission to be authentic. And some people come in the space and they're like, oh my God, thank God I can put that down. That's heavy.
Yes.
Like just a platform for just being who you are. It's not that difficult. And we were talking about like leaders of the community and stuff, and it's like the unauthenticness.
Yeah.
Is that a word? Unauthenticness?
I was like, oh, I think it is. No, it is.
Okay.
But
It's a word today.
I was like, I love your words that you create. I'm like, they make sense. We'll see it. You'll see it. I'll play it in here somewhere. The word that was created.
That was a great word. The unauthenticness that is showing up with the leaders, because they're showing up as one thing, but then you close the door and they're something else. And that means that they're not being authentic, because when you're authentic, when you show up as a leader, you're this, and when you close the door, you're this.
Right.
And there isn't a difference between the two.
Yeah.
And it's causing a lot of people to have the permission to do the same.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what's cool about that on like what this reminded me of a minute ago was when we had it was my second Kambo ceremony here. And, the first one, I was like very quiet and I was just observing and I was kind of like, okay, this is new and I want to respect the space. It wasn't my home. It wasn't, and I kind of had to feel it out. And I was like, how do you hold space? How do you want me to hold space? I'm going to show up as authentic as possible. But if it's one of those things where it's like, okay, we're quiet and like, okay, then I'll kind of follow suit just to out of respect, because I'm coming into your space basically. Right. And then when I met you, I was like, oh my gosh, she's so real. She's so cool. And then when we held Kambo here, like,
that was my favorite
up.
ceremony. I really struggled. Do you want to hear this?
Yeah.
Actually, no one else is listening. I really forgot for a second.
No, I keep forgetting too.
So this ties in with something that I just recently figured out. So when I first started serving Kambo, I was serving it in a way that I was being the person and people that taught me how to serve it.
Right.
So, and they're very like heady and like book smart, and they have all the words and they can name every one of the peptides and they can tell you like all the scientific background of Kambo. So I'm showing up doing that because thinking like, well, this is the way I have to serve Kambo. This is indigenous medicine. I have to be respectful.
Right.
And so I was, hosting my ceremonies like that. And I was kind of almost like mimicking, because I didn't know that I had the permission to do it authentically, because the people that were showing up weren't showing up authentic. So they were giving me the permission to not show up authentic too. Do you guys got that? Do you got that?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So that's how I was serving. And somebody one day pointed out to me, they were like, why do you use all those words and stuff? Like, it just seems uncomfortable coming out of your mouth. And then I was like, girl, I don't even know what half those words mean. Like, I don't even know why I'm saying them. I'm just repeating it. Like, and I was like, thank you for saying that. Like, this isn't how I want to host my ceremonies, because this isn't who I am.
Right.
And then I stopped serving for a little bit because I hadn't gone to Peru yet and met the frog.
Okay.
And I was really in a place of like, I have to be in my integrity, because I'm not showing up fully authentic. And, I didn't realize I was always holding like the highest regard to the medicine, to the people, because I'm just naturally in my integrity anyway. So, I was doing, my integrity was still there and it was good, but I wasn't being fully me.
Right.
And I thought that had I shown up to be fully me, that it would be disrespectful to the medicine. So, and I stopped serving for a little while, and I'm like, I have to go to Peru. And I just had the calling in my heart, like, you have to get permission. You have to be authentic, but you have to also be respectful. And because so many people are showing up, and I'm noticing and I'm feeling the backlash of it. Right. And then people are coming to me being like, hey, I had this Kambo ceremony and like, I need help. I need another ceremony. Like, I need a different Kambo. And I'm like, all right, I have to go to Peru, so that I can say here, like, I've been and I've met the frog and I am in full integrity with this medicine. And
you know what I just thought of real quick? Was you needed to meet the frog and have the respect and show the respect in order for you to be able to do it authentically and be yourself. Because now you're not just like, yeah, I'm Christy and here's me and here's what I'm doing. It's like
the Phyllomedusa Bicolor.
Right. But I have done the ultimate of, I've met you, I respect you, I know you.
Yes.
And now you can know me.
Right. And don't let me forget to tell you the moment that I did meet the frog, and come back to that place, because I won't remember.
Okay.
So I stopped serving for a minute, and I was like, you know, and I told you my relationship with Kambo was so difficult anyways. And mostly because of the religious aspect of when I was brought up in religion, and like, we're not supposed to go into things like that. Like shamanism is evil and it's another god, and thou shalt not have other gods and all that kind of stuff.
Well,
So
even yoga.
yeah, totally. Oh yeah, that was hard too. But
You can't do this posture because you're worshiping a different god, and
your kundalini's gonna rise, and then you're gonna be super sexy. Sorry.
That's right, bitches.
Down dog.
Little booty.
Oh, I love booty.
I know, me too.
We
get up. Yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
What was I saying?
They love it.
They're whatever. We might not even post this, so whatever.
Yeah, we might cut stuff out. Actually, you know what I thought of? I keep thinking of. Have you seen that little fly that's been like flying around too?
Do we want to light it on fire?
Yes. Oh, you're not talking about that. We were.
I was like, wait a minute, I hemsa, and then like whatever. That's not really authentic. I'll light the fly up.
This is authentic ceremony. Like, you know, like I forgot. I was totally gonna be like, we should start this and have it all ceremonial.
Totally.
Yes.
It's almost like a cork to a wine. It does. Feel it. It's like corky.
It's a cork.
Wait, plug up the vagina.
I was gonna say it's quite phallic looking.
What are they called? The chastity belts?
Chastity belt. Yeah.
For $5.99, you can get one for your daughter. Listen, I could sell
this. Symbolizing something? Are we
could-
lighting dicks on fire right now?
Wait, how'd I go from a vagina plug to a dick?
Apparently
But
that's
you know what,
it
girl?
is.
Like, we could sell this because people will buy anything if you put a good description to it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Little
Oh
bit.
my gosh,
It's amazing.
I'm healing myself.
And Palo Santo is hard to
That
keep
actually
lit.
smells really good. Do we have to light it again?
I think so. It'll stay lit once it's like fully.
Girl, I will let you light my stick all day.
Just the tip.
Not my dick, my stick.
The stick.
Just
Just the tip.
the girl yesterday, you're kinky.
You're like, yes, I am.
I was like,
fully
yes,
embrace myself.
Like, yes, I am kinky. And for a while I was into bondage. I'm like, shit, she's 16. Is she 14? Sometimes you
For a
can
while
take your
I was into
authenticity a little too far.
Hey, it's cool.
Yeah. Okay. So I stopped serving for a little while because I forgot the whole reason I'm telling the story, but it's important. Oh yes, no, I remember. So I found my way to Peru, which was amazing. Don't forget to flash across the screen Victor's retreat.
Okay.
Because I don't remember what it's called. Jungle retreats.
Okay. Send me the link to
I'll send you
it,
the
and
link so
then-
you can like. I want to flash across the screen in the big like over my face, big letters.
Okay,
because
okay.
they're amazing. Like
Okay.
Victor and Natasha are so authentic in their medicine path. Like they are the ones that gave me the permission. They are the ones that showed up authentic to give me the permission to show up authentic too. Is them because his love for the frog exudes. It flows out of him. Like, he doesn't have to do anything. It's there. Like you can't make that shit up.
And that's hard to find.
That's so hard to find. Like we have, and I have to say it, I'm sorry. We have people out there like, serving the medicine and then teaching other people to serve the medicine, holding certifications, and they haven't even met the frog yet. And if like, you could just understand what that process of just doing that one thing in integrity can do for your service, just alone, it changes everything. It does. So I went to Peru and we spent, I don't remember, a week out there with Kambo, did Kambo every day, did a few ayahuasca ceremonies. Like it was profound. But I remember the moment that I held the frog in my hand for the first time, and I have the video actually. Yeah. Oh, it's so cool. And it finally turned to me and it looked at me. And when it looked at me and I looked at him, like everything about how I serve medicine changed. Everything. And you would think that it would change in a way where I would be more intelligent of all the wording and scientific this and that of it. And it wasn't at all. Like there were times that in the morning the villagers would come in and we would serve them Kambo, and they would just line up. So we have to get up at 7 a.m. and just serve one after another. And we're out on a balcony, and we've got these like dirty buckets, and they're just because everybody is just going to use them. And and one would be have their Kambo, and they'd be throwing up, and then we would just throw it over the edge of the balcony, and then hand it to the next person. I'm like, you didn't rinse that out, and it wasn't about that. Like it just, and then even there, like. There wasn't like Victor didn't sit down and be like, okay, and didn't have a manual and all that bullshit. It's bullshit.
Right.
What's not bullshit is the authenticity of showing up to it in the fucking jungle.
Right.
And just and hands on.
Yeah.
And watching it and being with it and having it in your hands. And it looked at me and I looked at it. And my struggle with serving Kambo in that moment just went away. Because I struggled, like, should I be doing this? Is this just something my ex was doing that I just became good at, so I'm doing it, and like maybe this isn't my path, but a path that somebody else put me on, and I think maybe I'm lost. Like, you know, you question yourself when you've gone through so much. Like,
you do, yeah.
Well, fucking goddamn it, who am I?
Right.
Like, who the fuck am I without you? You know?
Yeah.
What I mean?
Like, was that just influence, or was that just showing me? Was that universe, creator, whatever, like showing me, hey, here's a route for you. This was the way that I was able to present this to you, and how do we accept it that way rather than just be like, well, that's what so and so did, so I don't know, I don't really want to do it because that's what so and so did. Or
oh my god, well, let's go to Bufo, because now everyone's doing Bufo, and Bufo's the next cool thing because Tom, Dick, and Harry all do it in their backyard. Can you believe the amount of people that are asking me to trade Kambo ceremonies for Bufo? Now that I know what Bufo is, and now that we've been talking, and like I saw you get your chai, and I was like, yeah, I want chai. Bufo, that's a new thing for me. Like I've never done it. I've heard of it, but I wasn't exactly sure what it was. And then you helped clarify that. And looking into it, it was like, okay, the way that it's done, there's not any of that integrity. And the reasons for it, what are the reasons for it? Like, why are people doing it? Why are they seeking it out? Is it because, like you said, it's just a fad? So you said, oh, well, you did Kambo, but did you try Bufo? Oh, no, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And hey, I'm doing like, what? And yes, there's a place for it. There's a place where practitioners should be serving Bufo. There's a place that the student or me per se, I haven't not done it yet because I've not felt drawn to it. Right. Yeah. And I've had the opportunity plenty of times, but you know, I personally feel like I want to be able to at least do the work and put my work in to get to the place to be able to do something like that. Right, and then, you know, Sarah is coming out of nowhere and she's never even smoked weed. And she's like, you know, coming with like straight from her Catholic school. And she's like, oh, and then, you know, the self-proclaimed shaman steps up and is like, here, do Bufo so this can change your world so that I can have another little minion underneath me. Self-proclaimed shaman. That's another. Well, I mean, it's like taking these young women who are on their rite of passage, and these self-proclaimed shamans are pulling and drawing energy and hooking in, and it's just really fucked up. But we'll talk more about that after. But as far as what was I getting at the Bufo? Bufo, Tom, Dick, and Harry are doing Bufo in their backyard, and then Mary just doing it. Oh, and then Mary just never smoking weed before. She's like, yeah, I got this stuff called Bufo. Yeah, it's the reality of it though. Like there has to be some kind of like, you know, there's integration after you do the medicine. I feel like there's got to be a little bit of something leading up until somebody's thrown into Bufo. Right. And the correct leaders would have an understanding of that. Like, you know. Right. Yeah. Yes. Go ahead and do it, but don't do it in the backyard of John's house when last night he was partying at the strip club. Like no judgment, but it's not about a judgment. It's about standing up for what's right and what's in integrity. Yeah. Because that seems like something that it's just, you don't want it to that kind of thing, a sacred medicine, something that can be used as a sacred medicine to become the new party drug of the week. And it's almost like that. And I'm really in shock. And the reason I'm talking about it is because of the amount, like over a handful of people were like, hey, can I buy a combo stick from you right there? That just pissed me off. It's like, I don't sell my combo sticks. Like the way that you have to get this medicine, and you shouldn't even waste an inch of this. I'm not going to sell you my combo. That's ridiculous.
Well, how do you know that they're going to use it correctly? How do you know that
even knows? I wouldn't even get to those thoughts because it's just so out of my mind and out of integrity in my eyes.
Yeah.
Like, and now if like my teacher's going to be selling the combo, that's who should be selling the combo, but not, you know. But they're like, hey, you know, can I buy a combo, or can I have a combo stick for you and I'll give you bufo? I'm like, you just have that stuff in a jar in your backyard and you're just trading it off. Like, hey, I need gas. I don't have any money. Can you want some bufo? Like, come on, you guys. It's just the integrity is getting lost completely. So circling back around.
You could have a single mom trade her food stamps for some bufo.
Can I have some chips?
Buy you some cookies. I got these for you. You can pay for them with your food stamps.
I'm spiritual. I'm too spiritual to get a job. Anyway,
toxic positivity.
Wait, what's toxic positivity?
Now you're spiritual bypassing.
Oh shit!
What's wrong? What's going on with this?
What's spiritual bypassing again? I can't remember the beginning of the conversation. Polyamory? No, that's chapter 17 of my book. Yeah, I'm writing a book.
This girl's writing a book.
I know we're all over the place. I'm so sorry. Okay, wait, let me circle back and close the first thought. Kambo, holding the frog, giving me permission to show up authentic.
Yes.
So, and Victor was so authentic in the entire training, and it wasn't even like it was a training. It was like here it is, and here's your opportunity to connect deeply with it.
Right.
And so we were, serving to all the people in the morning, doing it ourselves. And then going into the jungle, and he was taking us to see all the different plants and trees and what they all do. And like, he knows every little, like, what is that blade of grass right there? And he'll tell you exactly what it is and what to do with it. Like, it was just so cool. And then going into the villages to bring things to the children, like that's authentic.
Yeah.
So when I left that trip and came back, like, before I left, I was like, I don't even want to serve Kambo anymore because I just don't know if I want to even be a part of the community of all of this and the amount of people that are just, I'm certified Kambo practitioner. Like, did the person that certified you meet this frog yet? Because the relationship is totally different after. So I started doing my ceremonies like I do now.
Yeah.
So I just am so authentic in them. I don't use any of the big words. I tell them there's peptides in them, but I don't sit there and like list them all out. And I don't even tell you how many. None of that matters.
If they want that information, they can go seek it after. And honestly, like, okay, I can be a little heady and logical about stuff. I like researching and reading and like, if it would be interesting for me to look it up maybe and be like, oh, that's cool. And that helps with this and that helps with that or whatever. But when you're going into ceremony, it doesn't really set the vibe of ceremony. That's like, this is a separate educational aspect.
Right.
And I can relate to that with yoga. When I started teaching yoga, I was like, everything in Sanskrit, like every pose. And like, I was like looking at my students and they're glazed over. Like, what did you just say? Like, how do I get my leg to do this when I have a bad knee?
Virvikasana, what?
Yeah.
Trikonasana, who?
Yeah. Like, oh, well, it means triangle because blah, blah. And they're like, what? Like it wasn't what they needed.
Heat. Samasta.
Even doing like om.
Right.
Right.
And it's just another pure example of like sometimes just taking it somewhere that the simplicity of everything is being lost.
Yeah.
That's the purpose of all of this.
Well, and when you said like, oh, it was cool because it wasn't like they had a binder with this thing that you followed, like I would be wary of that too. If I went to go learn something that was true jungle medicine, right? Like, okay, this comes from an authentic place. This is tradition that's passed down. This is not something that a corporation put together in a binder.
I'll trade you your binder and one up you a frog. Somebody asked me when I came back if I took a frog back with me. What?
Why would you do that?
Why would someone think of that?
Why?
I don't know.
So there's such an interesting, it's all when it comes down to inauthenticity.
Yes.
And lack of integrity.
Yes.
And it's interesting because
and only somebody with lack of integrity would ask me that question.
Right. Because in somewhere in their psyche, they're like, oh, that'd be cool. I'd like to have one of those frogs. Why? What are you going to do with that? What is possessing that and keeping that and taking it out of its,
Well, it doesn't even create the peptides when you take it out of its natural environment anyway. So what the fuck would I do that for?
Yeah.
So that I can put it in a tank and it can die?
Yeah.
Am I going to do a photo shoot on Instagram with it?
Yeah. Oh, look at my cool Kambo frog.
No, I have a whole video of me in the jungle with a cool Kambo. That's it. I need to take it home with me. Put that bitch back.
It is interesting.
Johnny, take that out of your pocket.
It's like when you go to is it like the Virgin Islands or something, and they're like, you can't even take a grain of sand with you. Like you have to make sure every grain of sand is off.
That's
it's
funny.
like don't bring anything with you. No seashells. Don't collect seashells.
So I wasn't supposed to take all those rocks from the petrified forest. I took a whole. We were stealing them. Sorry, authentic. I took a lot of rocks from the petrified forest. Okay, I'm a horrible person.
At least you didn't take a frog.
No, you should not take a frog. Oh shit! I see where you're going at. Damn it! That backfired.
But see, that's the thing is like being authentic. Like, why are we trying to hide who we are? We all have these like little secrets, these skeletons in the closet, these things that like we're afraid to open up with and afraid to be vocal about and afraid to share or like afraid to show lack of professionalism or
Right,
and that's
right.
part of that. Like, oh, I'm going to show
I had
you
that.
all that
I
I have
had
this
that.
training.
I've
I've had training. I'm going to
completely.
speak in Sanskrit the whole time. You
Yeah.
have no idea what I'm saying.
Mhm.
Well, okay, but and even half of it, sometimes I would forget what it was, and I'd be like, like
I've been doing yoga for 10 years, teaching it. I've trained. I think exactly 100 people I trained.
Yeah.
I don't know. I couldn't even take my own test. I swear to God, this girl Kristen in my training, she like aced the entire thing. She didn't get one wrong in the test for the end of my training. And I was like, damn, girl, like that's fucking impressive. So I go back and I'm like, I'm gonna take my own test. I flunked it.
Your own test?
I failed my own test. It's not how I
awesome.
operate. It's not how I operate. But get me in front of people. I'll teach for you. I'll show you.
Well, we talked about that with massage and stuff too. You were like,
Yes.
I didn't want to go to actual massage school and learn all this stuff. I wanted to intuitively, know. And it's funny because I went to like typical massage school, but I don't remember any of that stuff. Like maybe
It's not how
a
our
few
brains
things.
function.
No.
We don't function that way.
I follow the energy. I feel I could my best massages. If you've had a massage for me, you've had a blindfolded massage or like my eyes are usually closed.
Sounds sexy.
All right.
What do you do later?
Yeah. You don't have to go home tonight.
Chai. I'm sleeping over, baby.
Oh.
We'll talk about him later.
Yeah, well, yeah, you're special. Don't worry, you're coming up.
You're gonna warning.
We have so many things we want to cover, and we're like, I don't know. I don't want to like cut you off or add any more to our.
I ended my. I turned it back around a full circle. I did good.
You did. I'm proud of you.
Now I'm
You passed
authentic
your
in
own
my
test.
ceremonies. Yeah, and I think that your ceremony was one of the first ones after I got back.
Here?
Yes.
The one in St. Pete?
The one
first
in
one?
St. Pete.
Okay.
Yep. And then especially I started really getting in my groove of just being real here.
Yes.
And that's the one where everybody was laughing.
Was
and
that the first one where everybody was laughing?
Yes. That was the first one. And you know why everybody was laughing? Because that was the first one where you really got the chills.
I love you so
You
much.
really
in this
did
room.
get the
Okay,
chills.
give him a kiss. Give him a kiss. Now I'm getting more chills. Like,
yeah, girl, this was it. Like
We
I
were
really was
laughing.
standing into my power and we were just laughing. And everybody in the ceremony, like even in the combo itself, like it was powerful and it was strong. But even when it was like right when it was done, there was no like, oh, I'm in the depths of my hell. There was laughter and like just happiness.
everybody
and joy
sat up and was like,
talking again.
Yeah.
And we're the ones where, and I noticed the ones where I was like trying to be all like, and then the peptides and enter into I don't even want to do it.
right.
They were all like very and whatever, like the process is what it is, but it was just very different than the ones that I hold now. And even the one that we held the other yesterday too. Was that yesterday?
Yeah, both of them were yesterday.
Holy Jesus, I've started a lot of medicine.
You have started a lot of medicine.
That's awesome. But the room, everybody in the room, like they were going through it and they were really like
the first one.
Yesterday. And but it was also very light, right? And it wasn't like, I don't know. I like holding space like that in my authenticity.
You know what's really funny? When we did the we were laughing here at this one, and I forget we were doing the hape.
We have it on tape, I think, or somebody took a picture maybe
of this one.
Yeah.
Here. Yeah, I think there's a little video of us laughing, or at least a picture. And I loved that moment, and we both were like cracking up, almost like snorting, laughing. And we were. I think you had said, you're like, yeah, like ceremony doesn't have to be so like, whew, okay. You know, it's like you can have the respect and honor, but there's also a beautifulness to like being able to laugh and let go.
Yes. One of my biggest sayings right now is you do not have to go into the depth of your darkness in order to come into your light. You just fucking don't have to do it. You don't have to do it. You just don't. You can take yourself where you're at and you can move up from there. You're already in the light. You don't, we don't, like, I think the time has ended for us to have to go into our deep shadow side. And now there's definitely people that need that for sure. I'm talking more of a collective.
Yeah.
Because I think as a collective, everyone is all about healing right now. Like, I need to be healed. And even the people that don't even need the healing are saying I need to be healed because all of the sheep are going in that direction.
Girl, you just opened up a whole, like, I'm like,
I felt that.
Okay. So I'm gonna detour real quick on
Do
this
it.
because
We don't even have to go back.
It's coming up, and I'm like,
Do
yes.
it.
All right. Now this is
More
going
chills?
Yes, she's gonna kiss me every time we get chills. What happened? My video, the camera all of a sudden got blurry. It was like,
is it the smoke?
I don't know. Why'd you get all blurry? Why'd you get weird?
I think it's the smoke.
Is it really?
Maybe. Yeah, it's pretty smoky.
All right. Oh, it's almost done. Oh, maybe not. Here, I'm gonna move you. That's weird.
Yeah, it's definitely the smoke.
It wasn't a minute ago, and then.
Well, this is a perfect time to do the close up. Just kidding. I don't really care.
Dude, no, seriously.
Oh yeah, don't forget what you were saying because it was good. I was getting the chills. You don't have to kiss me now.
Yay! It's back.
I almost gave you my face.
Mwah. I love her so much.
I love me too.
Mochi's gonna go outside and he's probably gonna try to climb the screen, but that's okay. That's okay. Okay. You just said something that was like, you don't have to go down to your darkness to get up to your light.
Yes.
Or something to that effect.
Yes. You don't have to go into the depth of your darkness to be into your light.
So that is so. I'm trying to like reset. Okay. So let's talk relationships a little bit, right?
Oh, let's do it.
Well, let's go there.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah, me too.
I'm finally okay with it.
We love you all, but you know.
Yeah, we do. Total nothing but love.
This is all an experience.
Also nothing but truth.
Nothing but truth, which means that we're learning. Again, integrity, authenticity, no judgment. It's just observation of, oh, I've had this experience. This is how this helped me grow and hopefully helps everybody, you know, everyone involved with it.
And this experience has helped me to be where I am. So I honor it. And,
right.
And the dharma of what the pain that you caused me is the reason that I am where I am now. So I bow to you.
Right. I love it. Yes.
I'll bow to you too. You didn't cause me any pain yet.
Like, pinch you. Okay. So I have heard this a few times, right? So we try to be open. We try to open up and be authentic in certain relationships, right? And share. Sometimes things come up and you share like something from your past, right? Like maybe you're like, yeah, you know, this happened, blah, 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 or this happened. You and I have shared some of those things. Now, I don't hold you in this light of, oh, you're damaged.
Right.
It's, you went through something. Whatever.
Yeah.
You're not hanging on to it.
Right.
You're like, oh, okay, here was a story at one point. So sometimes in a relationship, you can do this thing where you're communicating and you're connecting and you're talking on deeper levels and you're talking about your past and whatever. That doesn't mean you're hung up on those things.
Right.
Now, sometimes if someone is unhealed in a certain way and not wanting to look at self, they can take those things that you shared and create that as a weakness in you. well, you're like this because of your past.
Right.
You must be insecure because this happened to you.
And now you need to work on your shadow side.
Yes.
Because you're bringing your toxicity
Toxicity
into my relationship.
This is. Can you write a dictionary with your book too?
Wait, they're called Christyisms. We've already got a group of people. Can everyone that has in your notes the Christyisms, because I've got like 7 or 8 people. Can either comment or email them to me. I'm gonna make a little coffee table book.
I love that. A coffee table book. No, we need it.
It'll be book number 3.
Toxicities. Don't put your positive toxicity on me.
I'm gonna pee. No, it's coming.
It's coming out.
Is there plastic on your?
There's a grounding pad. Yeah, just be on the pillow. It's fine.
A grounding pad. This one needs.
It's not a pee pad. It's a grounding
pad. Did I have water?
Oh, you did. It's right here.
Oh, thank you.
Remember, you wanted this cup.
My baller. Don't put your toxicity.
Yes.
In our relationship.
And then yeah, I don't know. That could just go so many. Well, you're the one that brought it up, and well, why would you share it if you weren't on here? It's just an experience. That doesn't mean I live there.
And it's uncomfortable, especially in relationships, for some people to be able to hold space, because they're forgetting that that's really all they're doing is holding the space for the person to be able to speak what they're feeling,
right?
To express themselves, and they forget that that's all they're doing, and they take it extremely personal.
Very personal.
And it's like, well, no, my last relationship, that happening had absolutely nothing to do with you, and I'm just expressing myself in the moment to become deeper with you, but you're getting hung up now on the fact that I'm talking about my ex, and you can't handle that because you're not actually listening. You're listening to respond.
Right.
That was good.
This is fun. We should just create our own talk show and bring other people on and be like,
oh my God,
right,
let's do it. I'm all in.
Podcast it up.
We need hours of it. Watch, nobody else thinks this is cool but us.
Yeah, we're gonna have like one view. People are gonna be like,
that sucked.
It's just like 2 chicks like rambling.
Wait, and then we'll get the judgmental ones. They'll say, yeah, and all they were doing was judging everything.
Yeah. They were judging yoga and bufo and Kambo
and ex-boyfriends. I can't believe they were judging ex-boyfriends. Don't judge my ex-boyfriend.
Don't judge my past toxicities.
Those are my toxicities. Wait, make sure you put it up on the screen.
Toxicity.
Let's just spell it out.
Don't you know that you're toxic?
For little Britney Spears.
Little Britney Spears in there. Toxicity.
Shout out to Brit. Wait, have you ever watched her Instagram? I knew you did. I was hoping that you would say no so I can think I'm the only dork. No, a friend of mine followed her and sent me something with her. I was like, what? And then I really started thinking, like, why are we constantly watching somebody else's life?
Right.
And then you look at your own life and you're like, my life sucks. Or like, I'm finding all these negative things in your life because you're too busy watching somebody else's life and comparing.
Right.
That's like the scroll through Facebook. Like, I just don't do it. I do not scroll through Facebook because when I wake up in the morning, I feel good about myself. I get on Facebook and I see what like Jen over here is doing, and she's doing 52 retreats, and I'm like, oh, I'm doing nothing. It's like, bitch, you just served Kambo to like 40 something people this week.
Right.
You're not doing nothing.
And that's funny because that's another thing, like with relationships we were talking about, is like being able to be and know yourself, know who you are. When you wake up in the morning, it's like, no, I'm me. I know how I feel. I know where I'm at. And then I'm getting all worked up. I'm like, I like your little. What did I do earlier? I was like,
you did. You're like,
it's like something about like extra big boobies or
when
something.
when we're pregnant.
Oh yes, when we're pregnant and we have the extra boobies.
No, we were actually talking about how men say to us, I'll buy your tits for you. Like, wow.
Huh.
Wow.
I like you and all, but if I had enough money, I'd buy you a pair of tits. Thank you.
Wait, what'd you do earlier?
Bye.
Bye. Take your bag of chips with you.
Yeah. Leave those cookies I bought them.
Yeah, those cookies were from me for Mother's Day. I bought them with my own food stamps. I traded Kambo stick for Bufo and traded the Bufo for the cookies.
Ultimately, it was all paid for with food stamps.
Yeah,
I basically bought my combo with food stamps. Oh my gosh. No, but being able to, like, it's like that waking up in the morning thing and knowing who you are, and then like you get on Facebook or you scroll and you start feeling like, man, I'm not doing that, or wow,
Right.
like this, like she looks gorgeous, and like, oh, what
she
about
doesn't have any
this?
bags under her eyes at all.
Yeah, like,
She's like 23.
yeah,
We're not looking at that.
right, yeah, like,
She's 23 and hasn't been through much of anything yet.
yeah. And where are the men that honor that? Like, remember, like, honoring aging. Like, I can't wait to have gray hair. Like, I'm gonna be silver fox. Like, I'm gonna love
well,
that
your
shit.
hair is so gorgeous; it would look great any color.
Yours too. I like it. No, we're gonna, like, there's beauty in that, and it's our society that like convinces us otherwise. Like, oh, you're not hot enough, or you're not sexually attractive enough because.
Oh wait, in the
of-
spiritual community, it's you're not sexual enough in your kundalini, and you wait. Can we talk about it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's do it. We're having difficult, not for us, like
Tantra. I
talk
am
about
a Tantra
Tantra.
teacher. We have to talk about that for
Yes.
sure.
Yes.
What were you saying? I cut you off. It was rude.
No, you're good. Let's go there.
Let's go there. All right, we're about to get deep. This is actually going to go pretty deep.
Yeah, this is
real quick.
yeah.
Like, I'm feeling a little nauseous. It could be the pregnancy, but probably. Okay.
Could be the combo.
What?
Yesterday we were both sitting in that ceremony,
Oh my
this big ceremony, and we're both like, man, we're not. She's like, I thought it was the pregnancy. I'm like, yeah, no.
No, well, the room was a little small and none of the doors and windows were open. So that was a lot of energy.
There was a lot of energy.
That was the most energy I think I've ever experienced serving Kambo.
Wow.
But I thought maybe, so for me, serving Kambo pregnant, even just a couple of months, is so different, like
Wow,
energetic wise.
Yeah.
So I thought I was just like, what the fuck? But then when I looked over at you and you were like, wow, and like you had to take a breath and you looked nauseous, and then I almost threw up for you. I was like, oh, okay. And then I think it was
I almost threw up for you.
I did. I think it was maybe Mandala or somebody that opened up all the windows and doors. I was like,
Thank you.
fucking thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a lot.
Yeah, it was.
But yeah, Tantra.
Tantra.
Tantra. So let's go there.
Yeah, let's totally do it. So
I'm a shaman, by the way.
I could eat my own leg.
Mochi told me the other day he's a shaman.
Mochi is a shaman.
Mochi is a shaman because he actually has never said he's a shaman.
That's right, because he's never said he's a shaman, so therefore he is a shaman.
You guys do realize there's like a universal rule there, right?
Yes, and we just said it. And also, it was cool when I was out in Peru. They go for the dietas.
Mhm.
So they were talking about the shamans and how they go out into the jungle for a period of time, like 3-4 months, a long period of time,
Wow.
and they eat only like the bark or the root of a certain tree, and they connect with that tree for that entire time that they're out there. And that's what shamans do. They practice that.
Right,
They're
right.
putting the work in
Right.
in order to hold the space.
Right.
Like
Right.
putting the work in, like going to meet the frog before you train a bunch of people.
Mm-hmm.
You meet the frog. That's
Yeah.
putting in the work.
Yeah.
If you want to be a shaman, you do the dietas. You
Right.
put the work in.
Right.
And this is just integrity. This is a universal law. It's like people are forgetting it because everybody just wants to go for the next best thing and be the next best thing in order to feel good about themselves because they're not being authentic. If they were being authentic, they wouldn't have to try so hard to feel good about themselves, and they wouldn't have to call themselves a shaman. Fucking bam.
You know, I'm gonna hit on the yogi world a little bit too on that, because we were talking about this yesterday, like the whole, like, you know, everybody, it's cool. Whatever your thing is, it's cool. But we're gonna go here for a second.
This is just our talk show. Okay, guys, stop.
Yeah.
This has nothing to do with you.
Stop.
I can feel the judgments. It hasn't even hit the air yet.
Are we judging, or are you judging us?
It's all an observation.
Yes. So let's talk about the Astronomes, Yoga Alliance, all of that type of thing, right? It's like, okay, so I have been a yoga instructor for 5 or 6 years now. Not Yoga Alliance certified, never have been, never will be. But it's like we're holding this integrity in a piece of paper or in a name that we did something with, rather than like, what did we actually learn? Where I know the teacher that I had, he was really allowed you to be authentic. Like, he really wanted you to just learn and ask questions and not have to play this role or play this part of having it all together or being like, yes. Oh. You know, it's like, no, you're really not having to necessarily just, I don't know. I'm kind of like lost what I was saying. Yeah, I totally lost what I was saying.
I was just looking at how pretty your hair is.
My eyes are up here, Christy.
Sorry.
You know, like in cartoon movies, when like a boy like sees a girl and like she's talking to him and time stops, and like all he sees is like everything.
That's what was around her. The moon was behind you. The birds were coming through.
That's why I lost my track. I thought it was like, I'm feeling something. What am I talking about? But anyway, yeah, just that general.
You were talking about how people have to have, be 27 level Reiki certified and put how many master degrees that they have in each individual category of spiritualism up on their Facebook. So you can't even get to the first post because you have to scroll down 42 miles in order to see everything that the person has done. Congratulations. You are now whole and complete.
Who are you trying to prove it to?
Right. Yourself. And that's okay
to prove
too.
Your own worthiness.
Right.
And really, it is okay. And it's just, we don't need to do that.
No, because if we just show up authentic and say, I don't have any certifications, but I still am going to show up and give and offer what I can and what I'm good at. And that is just as much. And that's okay.
Yeah.
Unless you're calling yourself a self-proclaimed shaman, you don't have any certifications at all. It's more, to me, it's just more about putting in the work of being authentic in the gift that God has given you.
Right.
And just diving into that. And yeah, like I don't have my, 500 hour. I know I've done a bunch of stuff exactly. But I don't have my 500 hour. That doesn't make me any less of a teacher than somebody that has their 500 hour 15,000 times.
Right.
It just makes me a different type of teacher, and it makes them a different type of teacher, and that's okay.
Right.
But I was talking to somebody that actually has so many certifications upon certifications, and I said to the girl, like, just authentically, and I was like, wow, you've done a lot of work, to get yourself to this place. You've done so many programs and this and that, and she was super real. She said, yeah, and I just keep doing them because it's insatiable. I never feel enough. And I was like, wow. And at that time, I was looking at all of the success of her and thinking, damn, I'm not enough. Like, I need to do more. And the whole time she's having the opposite effect. And she wants what I want, and I want what she wants. And it's all ridiculous. Why can't we all just show up and be authentic in all of it?
I love that.
Yeah.
And to know that, like, somebody that really, that where you see you're scrolling down, there's all these things, and it's like, it's still insatiable to them, but yet we still want that. But even if we got there, it would still be insatiable to us. We'd be like, well, we're not enough because. Yeah.
So it's just what I said the other day. And there I was standing at the end of the rabbit hole. Here I was coming out of the other end of the rabbit hole, standing in front of it, contemplating whether to go down. I need to put that in my book.
No, you should.
Yeah, remind me later.
Yeah.
That can be my closing chapter. I have the closing chapter to my book. That's it.
I got chills again.
Fuck, and then it starts it over. So that can go back now to
Tantra.
The Tantra master. A Tantra master. So I'm writing a book. It's called The Way of the Seeker. And it's basically about my journey from coming from Christianity, going into yoga, going into shamanism, falling madly, deeply, insanely, insatiably in love.
Insatiably.
And then going through a bunch of rites of passage and searching for myself through them all, only to realize that I'm right back at the beginning of the rabbit hole as I come around the whole other end. And and it talks a lot about things that I put myself through that were unnecessary. That had I just listened to my intuition in the beginning, that told me in these exact words, you don't have to go through this in order to learn the lesson. There's more gentle ways to learn the lesson, and the lesson will be learned because it's for you, and what is for you will never miss you. And a lot of the book is about that. So it starts out as a really beautiful love story. A really beautiful love story. And then it goes into, narcissism and this isn't negative towards the other end of my love either at all, because had I not experienced all of it, I wouldn't be who I am right now. So there's nothing but bowing and honor and love for that. But also in the realness of it, it talks a lot about narcissism, in which, the unhealed masculine, and what that what it does to a woman when she steps into a relationship where the masculine is unhealed. Right. And it's not even the masculine's fault either. It's just that the masculine is unhealed. Right. And that's it. And whatever that means. But it starts as a love story, and then it goes into the different aspects of things that I had never experienced before. Like I had no idea what Tantra was. I didn't know what kombucha was. Literally. Yeah. Like this guy came to a party of mine with djembes and speakers and a thing of kombucha, a keg of kombucha, and like slammed it on the ground, and I was like mesmerized. And
what is this?
I'm like, what is that? And he said kombucha, and I'm like, I don't even know what that is. So like, think about where I was at, you know? Right. And it talks a lot about also like women coming into their rite of passage, like really wanting to step into the spiritual world, because there's a lot to learn there, right? A lot to learn there, and how dangerous that it can be to get into the hands of self-proclaimed anything, shaman, teacher, leader, and we're getting a lot of that, and it's damaging further these young girls too. And so I talk about how it affected me and what it did to me. And one of the things that I touch on is like Tantra, polyamory, sexuality, because a big portion of my wound came from a rape. And so as I came into coming out of like religion, where now I was allowed to see that these things had happened, it was coming into yoga, where I was allowed to embody it now. Right. So now I have this thing that happened that I've never addressed, and then I've embodied it and myself. So now I have to do something with it. Right. And the first thing that was kind of brought to my attention was Tantra. And so I'm like, hell fucking yeah.
Like, let's go. Let's explore.
Like, in religion, sexuality is bad. It's not at all, because it's so powerful. Right. And I was never really allowed to express myself in that area. And because of the rape, like the way that I was, tied down and held down, like the certain ways that in which it was kind of like bondage. And so I got to a place where I didn't know how to address the healing aspect of this. So I created for myself, which is natural, a safe platform in order to work with, to now say, well, now I'm creating bondage in my bedroom, and I'm allowing you to tie me down and to beat me and to make me bleed and whatever else that it is. Like I'm now allowing this because you took it from me in the rape, and you didn't allow that. And I didn't have a voice, and I didn't get to say that you could. Right. So I created it. And so now I find myself, and this is when I owned my yoga studio, and no one had any idea that I was going through this, but I was waking up and I was awakening, and I didn't have a platform. at all to help me.
Right.
And so I was creating my own, and I'm going into the yoga studio and teaching super sweet, cute, and authentic and loving.
Right.
And then going home and like just wanting to get tied up and beaten, like just and just in here. I don't know why I wanted that. And it was subconsciously, I realized now that it was because I wanted the healing. And it wasn't that I needed the healing. I was already healed, as I needed the permission to say that it's okay.
Right.
And that's it.
Right.
That was it.
Right.
And so I'm now creating all of this bondage stuff and like getting myself tied up in all this. And one night it was pretty bad. I hope my mom doesn't watch this. I love you, Mom. My father's definitely not watching this. One night I was with this guy, and like he had me like tied up, and he had like lines of cocaine on my ass, and like it was bad. It was bad. Yeah. And it like,
but the fact that you got to say it's okay to do this,
that was it. And but here's the point, and this goes back to everything, the insatiable that we were talking about. No matter what I did, I had to go deeper. And then I had to go deeper, and then I had to go deeper. And this is what we're talking about with the unhealed masculine, is they just need to be loved, because no matter what they do, they're searching for love. But no matter what they do, they're going to keep going deeper and keep going deeper. And then I find myself with like telling them, like, here's the gun. Like, I want you to fuck me with this gun. And it got that far. It got that deep, because the amount of me just needing to be loved and told it's okay, it just wasn't there for me. And that night, and this hooks into my love story, that night, this guy called out of nowhere, and it was late, and it was like, the phone's ringing, and I was like, oh my God, maybe it's my son. Like, you gotta stop. And I was like, fucking thank God. Like, and you come to reality. And I wasn't on drugs or anything. This was just me on the drug of my not forgiving myself for putting myself in a situation where that happened to me. Or even forgiving myself that had happened to me, and that's now a part of my life. And when I picked up the phone, he was like, "Whatever you're about to do, you don't need to do it." And it's like that put me in a whole different space of how would he know? How would he know? And this has to be in alignment. This has to be like. This has to be something special and something unique. And so even though my intuition at the time was saying, you don't need to do this with this new relationship, right away, I got rid of all of that. Right away. Like when I woke up to like, what the fuck? This isn't even who I am at all. Like, I'm so sweet and kind and loving and happy and joyful. And what is that? Existential kink. It's a part of me that's there. We just have to find the right platform to use it. So that's what this person had come in, and he's like, listen, you don't need to do this to yourself. And I have a new platform for you. I'll show you Tantra, and Tantra will help you heal. And then you'll become a goddess and a queen. And then only in your sexuality can you truly heal. The healing can't happen unless I put my cock in you, like it went there. And I was desperate for healing, and desperate for someone to hold the space for me, and desperate to experience something outside of what I was creating. I was looking for a platform that was more healthy. And this is where it becomes difficult with these self-proclaimed shamans and these teachers. They don't realize that there's women like me that are looking for a healthier platform, and they're swooping in and grabbing and making a platform for them.
I think they do realize, though.
Yeah, some of them do.
They probably,
some of them do.
Some of them,
some of them do. Maybe all of them do. You're right. Thank you for correcting me.
No, it just seems like that could be like, it's the vulnerability. Like, they're seeking out. They're like, because because you said you were in a place of healing. Right? Yes. When we're in a place of healing, we are seeking. We are looking. We're like, what fulfills this? How do I fill this insatiable need? Yes. And so how do I do that? And then if you have that vulnerability, and you're just wanting the truth. So if someone shows up as this, where they know that you're going to view them like that,
and because you're vulnerable.
Because at this point, if somebody showed up like that, you'd be like, get the fuck out of here.
I would see it from a mile away, but not at the vulnerable point.
So I think they know, or most of there's at least,
let's say 90%.
Yeah, I was going to say 90% no, because some probably are like, they don't realize their own ego in it. They don't realize their own, Right. But anyway, thank you for correcting me, because that's the right way. Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, so they're coming in knowing what they're doing. They're now creating a new platform for someone who's vulnerable, and then they're now being fed. I was being fed to an underlying addiction, and it was coming in the form of healing, and it was coming in the form of Tantra,
Right.
And it did more damage to me than the rape itself.
Right.
It did twice as much damage to me than the rape itself, because technically, had I just sat with myself and understood and forgiven myself and gotten rid of the shame and the guilt, I was already past it. But because in spirituality, we're coming in and all of these teachers are saying, no, we got to go straight to ayahuasca, go right into the depth, go into the darkness, go into the... And so I'm coming in and I'm like, oh, I need to be healed. I was raped, of course.
Right. Right.
And this is the problem. This is the issue that's happening.
Right.
A lot. So I talk about that in my book and how it affected me. And I'm going to leave that for that part for the book. But
that reminds me of like what we were talking about earlier is like, you know, you get into this relationship or even friends, but friends, even some family, you know, where it's like, oh, you're just like that because blah, blah, blah. Or, you know, your mom was like this. So that's why you're this way or da, 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 da. And it's like, whoa, hold on a second. Like, I'm not saying that I'm, that I am a perfect being in any way of whatever, but I've done a lot of work there. You don't realize where I've come from. Like, I'm actually okay. Like, I've accepted the fact that my mother was a raging alcoholic that used to drive us around drunk. We almost died multiple times on the road, that she used to call us fucking little cunts, and that was our nickname and all of that. Like, guess what? I've dealt with that. Like, and that's just real shit. Like,
no, you haven't dealt with it. You're avoiding your healing.
Yeah. I'm avoiding my, yeah. And that's why you don't like that I talk about that I want to be with other women.
Right after we make love, I roll over and start scrolling for the next girl we're going to bring into the relationship, because polyamory is the new thing.
Yeah, the polyamory thing. I feel like that's got to come up at some point. Like, that's...
You know, I have to be very honest on the other end of the polyamory thing. It was fun.
Right.
It was fun, but it for me didn't serve.
And for some people, maybe
for some people, for sure. Maybe
and that's
you're
fine.
born
That's
for
not
that.
what we're
Great.
about. Yeah, but if that's not in alignment with who you are, and if your heart is truly saying, we were talking about like the divine
masculine feminine connection, the yin and the yang. There's only two parts.
Right.
Two
like,
eyes to look into two eyes.
There's not 5 yins and a yang. There's
right.
one yin, one yang.
Yeah.
Like, and you were saying the thing with the eyes, you have 2 eyes to look at 2 eyes.
Yeah.
Not 2 eyes to have one on you and one over here, unless you like got, you know, I mean.
Well, and now that person can look at 2 people at once.
Right. And then they're, so, but the thing is like, you know, it's like if it's not meant for everyone. And there's a toxicity.
There is such a toxicity in it. Because you have to look at like the masculine in it, like, oh, well, my destiny pattern is polyamory. Is it though?
Right.
Is it though? Or is there a teacher out there teaching a bunch of people in workshops that this is how to rise the, I don't know, whatever. I can't even.
That's how you tap into your divine masculine.
That's how you tap into your divine
masculine is technically you're just all animals and it's biological and you're supposed to spread your seed to everybody. And
right.
Like, is that spiritual or is that just because you're the same as that lion over there?
That's good. Nice.
Birds mate for life. Okay.
Penguins.
Let's talk about penguins. So anyway, circling back around, I just, yeah, I mean, you know, and there's no judgment there. If that's who you truly resonate with, if that's your true thing, that's not the issue. That's just like saying like, okay, I don't identify as a lesbian. That's not in alignment for me, but that doesn't mean I think that lesbianism is wrong. If you're a lesbian, that's fine. Or if you're bi, that's fine. If whatever it is, that's okay. But polyamory, it's a little bit different because you're playing with multiple hearts. So if you're with someone who is truly also polyamorous and the other people all are too, then I guess that's okay. And that's in alignment. But But is it truly, is it just an experimental phase? Like, okay, experimental wise, like, sure, like that's something that could be explored.
Mm-hmm.
But is that where I see myself when I'm 80 years old, sitting on a, the porch, with my 3 husbands and I don't know, like.
And why is it always 7 women and then why can't we have multiple men? Why isn't that more of a? I'm just kidding.
Aren't we biological? Cats are biological, and cats can get pregnant by multiple male cats in the same litter. Like,
wow, that would be fun.
Did you know that?
No.
Okay, so
wait, what's your cat's name again?
That's Mochi.
Mochi can have
well, he's a boy.
You don't have to worry about having sex with 2 guys in one night and wondering which one the baby is, because you'll get 2 babies and one will be for each of them.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. That's how that works.
That's cool.
A cat can literally be pregnant and get pregnant with a second litter.
That's really cool.
And have them a week later. Have the other ones a week later or whenever.
Yeah. And the dad's standing there looking at them well, that one has my eyes. I know that one's mine has my nose. Look, he's looking. Mochi's looking at us.
He's like, why is that one a tabby? Who was the tabby?
Oh my god. So I did try the polyamory piece, and because it was his destiny pattern, which ultimately we figured out that it was his addiction, but that's okay.
Well, and that's what we're talking about.
It's still his destiny pattern. Yeah, exactly.
If it's
just
truly
about being
alignment,
cautious of is this truly authentic? We're going to come right back to authenticity or not. I remember this one and this is to help you if it is not truly authentic and you're trying to force yourself to be that because you are in love or because you want to be cool or whatever the fuck the reason that
it's the new thing being taught.
It's the new certification that you can get. Mm-hmm. You just I remember one time.
That's how you heal the masculine.
Oh, because we can't heal unless we have all of the juices from all the women flowing in the bed at one time. We mix it all up and then we drink it. Mm-hmm. What is it called?
Elixir of life. Your Amrita.
My Amrita. Remember, I was like, I will hit your third eye with my Amrita. And then I rolled the R.
I can't do it.
My Amrita. My Amrita will hit your third eye. I just had a long cigarette in my mouth with the hat on. Amrita.
That's probably the most I've been able to roll my R. My Amrita.
I'm always teaching. So stupid. That was your face looked pretty though. It looked good for the cat.
Yes. It's all the Amrita.
There's another chapter in my book about about the polyamory and not being authentic in who you are and trying to force something that's not of your spirit. And I loved these women though that I was with. I'm still super close to Jen, like this, and we actually say now still that those moments were the best moments of our lives when we were all when we were together.
Right.
So there was a lot of fun in it, but I remember one night, and I don't remember if it was her or somebody else because there were so many of them, but I was telling somebody I've been with way more women than men, and I'm not a lesbian at all. And if I have to have one more vagina in my face, I'm gonna lose my shit. Literally lose my shit. I remember one night, we were all in the bedroom, whatever, making love and having a Tantra session.
Right. Yeah.
Of course, we're all on MDMA, and because, we have to get drugged too. And I didn't mean it like that. You might want to cut that part. Don't cut that part though. Okay. And I had to remove myself from the situation because I was just so in love with this man, to the depth of my being. And it was in everything that I was. And I remember and it wasn't about a jealousy thing because I was working on that. And I actually really loved these women because I love all women. I love people. And I worked very hard on that because I never wanted to bring that aspect. I never wanted to have a jealousy of another woman. I only ever wanted to lift them into their light. Right. Because it's naturally who I am. And I didn't want to step out of who I was naturally. So I was trying to do this thing that wasn't me, but still be as authentic as I could be. And so it was a very difficult game of like, what the fuck?
Right.
But I just couldn't handle it one night. Like we were trying for a child around that time. And I just thought like, hey, you know, at least while we're trying for a child, can you at least just give me your attention? I've never gotten I've never gotten the container to be closed for even a short period of time.
Right.
And I'm only asking for this period of time while we're trying for a child. And like, I'm so willing to be open to your needs and have them met, which is all of this. But when it asks in return, can we close the container for this period of time? You can't do it. And like, it's an issue for me.
Right.
And so it was around the time that we were trying for a child, and I had to pull myself out of the bedroom. And I remember going into the bathroom.
Because trying to have a child, but also with others in that moment.
Yeah. Yes. He would put me in the situation of, well, with the energy of the other woman there and the feminine, it will call in the blah fucking blah blah word vomit.
Right.
Blah fucking blah. And so I pull myself out of the situation altogether, and I go into the bathroom, and I shut the door, and I lay down on the bathroom floor. It was cold, and I cried, like to the depth of a place I'd never cried from before. Like I cried, and it was painful. And I remember in that moment thinking like, this is not authentic.
Right.
This is because my authenticity is joy. It's
Right.
my middle name. Like it is.
Oh,
it is
I
what I
didn't know
am.
that.
Yeah,
Oh,
my middle name is
that's
joy. It's the absolute like essence of me, and I'm not experiencing this. So somewhere I'm not being authentic, and I had to pull. I remember like having to pull myself together to go back in, and then now it was a game of I'm strong enough. I'm strong enough. I'm going to be a strong queen. I'm a strong queen. I'm going to show my strength. I'm going to flex my strength. And I remember pulling myself together and looking at myself in the mirror. And like, if I could apologize to myself, like, I'm sorry right now. I looked at myself in the mirror and I was like, pull yourself together, bitch. Like, fuck. Like, what the fuck is that, you know?
Right.
And I pulled myself together and I went back in. And it's like, that's how deep that it will get if you're not living your truth and standing in your authenticity.
Like you have to stand up, and that being bold and standing up is standing up and being bold in a way that's not you. Like, is that?
Yeah.
So because you didn't truly want to get up and go back, and that wasn't your authentic.
No, my authentic self now. I would have
like,
gone by that door and been like, you son of a bitch. First
Right.
of all, you're not honoring me at all.
Right.
Second of all, you're not honoring this woman at all. This is spiritual rape.
Yeah.
And you have to go look at yourself now. Look at yourself. Because you not looking at yourself and creating a whole being and having a healed masculine and then trying to hold space for a bunch of feminine, look at what you're creating. Look at what you're doing. Look at yourself. And this circles back around to the
Well, let's ask this question
masculine.
real quick. And this is going to be my own personal opinion on this. Let's just ask this question real quick. So, speaking of children, right? Childbearing as human forms, which we are in this life, right? Now, a man who says he wants polyamory and wants to be with multiple women. Now, if his true intention with that is, oh, we're supposed to spread our seed to all these women, that doesn't mean pulling out and what, like that means you actually mean you want to spread your seed to each one. Now, most men have a really hard time. Not all. There are some absolute kings out there. Some men, whatever percentage, have an issue. They have trouble dealing with a pregnancy, with a child, being able to be there. A lot run away. A lot don't even want to have to pay child support. They don't want to be supportive. They don't want to do that. They don't know how to hold space for that. So how are you going to do that for
4,
all
5? Right.
Are you Bob Marley?
Oh, Bob Marley. Don't worry about a thing, guys.
Don't worry about things. But
how many kids did he have?
Like, I want to say it was like 15,
13
or 15, something like it was a lot. It was
but I
teens.
bet all of his wives got along because it's Bob Marley.
Right.
So unless you're Bob Marley,
unless you're Bob Marley, yeah, and
he was a healed masculine.
If you're a healed
He was a healed masculine,
and all women involved, or if you're a woman and there's multiple men, if you're all healed,
right,
and you really want
thank you,
then it's okay.
Thank you. And you know what's crazy is there was a point with me and Jen where I was like, I fucking love her.
Right.
I could actually do this.
Right.
Because if it's with her, I can
then
do
you could
this.
Yeah.
Because it felt good. It
Right.
felt right.
Right.
It felt in alignment. I
Right.
never felt off. It never felt bad. Not for 1 second.
Mhm.
You know what didn't feel right? Him. You know why? It wasn't healed.
Mhm.
And no judgment towards him at all. We all get our process. We all
Mhm.
get to have that. And I'm sure he's on the path of that now.
Right.
Like it's beautiful. I'm grateful for all of
Right.
this. But it's if the men could
Mhm.
just look at themselves and ask the right questions of, am I trying to show up to something that I should be only showing up to if I'm a healed masculine? And not saying we're all going to heal. There's never a point you're fully
Right,
healed,
right,
but
right,
you know
right.
what I mean.
Well, also the other thing that I just thought of as you were talking with that was, okay, talking about, the polyamory aspect. If you're not healed, but you think that polyamory is the right way for you, how do you know if you're not healed? Because what if
Mhm.
you're just, you're still
Projecting.
damaged? Yeah, and you're seeking and
Mhm.
you're unhealed, so you don't know how to handle a queen.
Right.
One queen scares the absolute shit out of
Mhm.
you, and she just holds her position. And if you're like, oh man, she's a bitch now, or whatever it is, or oh yeah, blah, if you don't know how to operate yourself in front of a true goddess, a true woman who is healed, and we're all healing, so there's always continuous things, but for the most part, right?
Yes.
Like where you're
We need
aware,
a majority of it. Yes.
right? Like, and so how do you know if you're not healed? How do you know that you're not just running away from that? Because
From your sexual addiction.
it's a sexual addiction, because then you're like, well, I can be with her until she gets too close, and I can bounce around to you and get to, and then I'm gonna bounce all around, rather than having to actually have.
Or how about I need to be distracted from the fact that I have a major sexual addiction?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to distract it with covering it up with an ancient practice called polyamory
Mhm.
and Tantra.
Mhm.
And now there's a lot of Tantra masters out there.
Yeah. I've heard that Reiki actually has been a little bit.
Oh my God, how many levels to Reiki is there? Can I ask you, can we say this?
Yeah.
You guys are so going to judge me. I'm sorry. This is just maybe me being
This
ignorant.
is just truth talk.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
truth talk. And maybe an ignorance in some form, but I don't really give a fuck.
Right.
So we blink our eyes naturally, correct?
Right.
So then why do we need, when we don't get the certification level 22 for blinking our eyes?
Right.
So why do we need all of these certifications for Reiki? Isn't it, it's energy.
Right.
So we naturally have that. It's ours. It's everybody's. We're
Right.
all masters and certified of Reiki. It's just like, are you going to use it or not? Are you going to be authentic with it or not? So I don't understand.
Well, it's just like the last
Am
interview
I
I
off
did.
here?
No,
You
no,
would tell me, right?
no. Oh, it's no, yeah, no.
Be like,
Because we'll be
bitch, you
all-
are gone. You are
That's not
out your mind.
No, because that's, you're talking about your innate abilities, and so the last interview that I did, she was an Ayurvedic practitioner from Colorado, and her whole thing is, she's like, look, yes, I'm an Ayurvedic doctor. Yes, I do energy work. Yes, I do that. But you know what I want to do now? I want to focus on helping people know how to help themselves.
Ooh, I love her
She's
already.
like, I know. And she's like, I'm going to help.
What's her name?
Her name's Dr. Heidi Nordlund.
We love you,
her
Dr. Heidi.
link. I'll send you the thing. It's like, it's so
She's
good.
probably listening to this going, what?
She's like,
This
was
wasn't
not-
in my Ayurvedic teachings.
Yeah, this was not at all like what we talked about.
Right.
But her thing was, not necessarily being like, oh yeah, you should just go to a random chiropractor and be muscle tested. She's like, do you understand muscle testing? Do you know how to do it with yourself? Do you know how to tune into your own intuition? Do you know how to do that? Okay, yeah, I can do these things for you, but do you know how to, I might say, oh, per your dosha, this, and this might be good for you.
Right.
Okay, but do you know how to tune into that and really feel, do I need this?
This is like what we were talking about with like integration work. What is the word for that though? Like the integration comes after. Is there a word for before and during? We have to look that up.
There should be a Christyism for that.
There's going to be a Christyism. What was my last one again?
Just remember toxicity.
Toxicity. That's the one I was looking for.
Integration, yeah. So, well, the integrative process.
Okay.
The
integrative
all-encompassing A, B, and
process.
C,
Okay.
whatever. The pre, during, and post,
Gotcha.
whatever. Yeah, like, are you integrating as you go. Is that what you kind of mean?
Yeah, we had a really
big.
interesting conversation with, what was his name this morning?
Ross.
With Ross.
Yeah.
It was really beautiful, actually, and we were talking about integration after ceremonies, and we somehow got on the subject of, I need to think a second how we got on the subject of it. I can't remember. No, I can't remember.
Well, I know that's what he does. He's kind of getting into that realm of kind of being
Right. Yeah, and we were talking about somehow got on the subject of dharma, and so we were talking about like the integration after, and then we got on the subject of like kind of like we were talking about my book a little bit and like what had happened, and he was like, you know, thank you for sharing what you shared with us yesterday. And I said, and he's like, you know, how do you really feel about that? And I said, well, it's like the thing about integration, like I never did get any integration work. And so then it caused deeper damage. And I said, but I finally come around to the other end to realize like that the person that did, even all of the people that did these to me, the rape, the bondage, the relationship, that we were saying that might be their dharma, like that the pain that they had caused me is why the purpose that they have to be here.
Right.
And we're like, how powerful is that person's purpose is to hurt people so that they can wake up to this and be who this is.
Right.
And then I was like, yeah, I said, well, I would kind of feel compassion for those people. Like I get my path and my purpose is fucking great. I get to have joy and like help people, to help hold space for people. And like, we're doing this. This is what I do. This shit's fun.
Are we a vessel? Are we allowing them to heal by being,
that's what I was getting at, girl. You're so smart. Yes. So then I was like, I want to keep my part in this because I would never want his part in it because that takes some real serious strength. Right. So like the unhealed masculine that works in that space for their entire life, like that poor thing is never going to experience. It's heavy and it's never really going to experience nirvana. But on the other end of that, him doing this to me and then me transforming and becoming who I am now, ultimately it does a circle back and it has to do healing for the other end, like you were saying.
Right. So I want to ask you something because, you know, coming out of like certain, you know, toxic relationships and everything, sometimes this isn't my perception of it because I hear what you're saying and I understand it completely to the best I can from my side of it. But like, what do you think of somebody who would hear that and go, this is an unhealed masculine? I would go, oh, well, nobody did anything to you. That's, you know, like, oh, don't be the victim of it. And I say that because I've had that said to me also. So I understand it. And I understand like sometimes being our authentic self, it's like, if I'm going to be authentic, sure. Yeah. There's a karma and dharma in all of that. Like, okay, so my mother, as a young child, when my mother used to call me names and get really drunk and have sex with random dudes on the couch, and we would walk out on it and like found her bag of like crazy dildos in the closet and my sister's backpack and all this crazy, you know, whatever. Like,
lay that out.
Well, yeah, like really?
Where's my science book?
And I'm just being really authentic because I just feel like that's like, I can talk about it. That's how I know I don't have necessarily trauma around it.
Right.
So, but by me saying like, yeah, my mom used to call me awful names and all that, I'm not like, oh, I'm a victim.
Right.
You know, and I can't say, well, I played a role in that as far as, you know, like trying to almost, there's been this whole thing of like putting a label on victimizing ourselves when maybe we're not able to be authentic unless we say, look, this happened to me.
Right.
You know, because I've heard some people go, oh, well, you must have done something to allow X, Y, and Z to happen. Yeah. You know what? In some ways, sure. You know what? With the girl's father, like I wasn't strong enough to tell him no at times. I own that part of it, but there was still a lot of bullshit that went on.
Yeah.
You know,
I struggled with that as well, because in the spiritual community, you're taught that to own it all and that you put yourself in that situation and you did all of this and you are the creator of your universe. I also believe there are shitty people out there that do shitty things. Yep. And you know what? I'm not taking ownership for their shitty stuff that they do.
Yeah.
Like, this man beat the fuck out of me at the end of our relationship. I'm not taking ownership for that. I didn't deserve that. And I didn't do that to myself. Oh, well, you stayed. Because I stayed, I didn't deserve to be beat.
Mm-hmm.
Because I stayed, I didn't deserve to be raped.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So no, I don't believe that.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's an ownership that you can take, and then there's a boundary that you can also set and say, I no longer take ownership for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right?
Yep. And you know what's interesting is the reason I asked that is because sometimes I tune into stuff that's like external, and I was hearing a future voice saying something like that. And I don't know if that's necessarily, you know, some type of like clairvoyant activity that's happening, or if it's an old voice in my head going, if sometimes I was being as raw and authentic as you were, would somebody try to shut me down by saying that, oh, well, nobody did. Like, what do you, I can hear that.
You know what I think about authenticity? You don't have to think about it.
I love it. Yeah.
You know how I know I'm being authentic? It just comes out.
Just comes out. Yeah.
And you know what? I don't really care if you think that it's this or it's that.
Yep.
I can be loving, respectful. I can honor your space. I can do all these things, and I can also be completely authentic and express myself. And I can also not really care what you think, because I understand that what you think of me is a reflection of yourself and has nothing to do with me at all. Even if you tell me that it does, it still has nothing to do with me.
So what do you think about as far as being healed women and in relationships with, you know, an unhealed masculine, and them saying, well, you're not able to hold space for me. Why can't you be there for me while I'm looking at other women? Why can't you accept that that's something that I struggle with, that I'm having a hard time with? And then they say that we're the victim.
You know what I say to that? Well, then you need to go take some time to heal.
Yep.
And you separate yourself from it and you leave the situation. You know how many times that I left that situation and he called it abandonment? It's like, no, I'm leaving because when you need to heal, you've got to step back. And I'm giving you the space to do that because I love you. I love you so much. I'm letting you go every time that you need to heal.
Yep.
It's not my fault if you're not doing the work while I'm gone.
Right.
It's not my fault that you're going deeper into your bullshit and creating more spiritual terms to cover it up.
Yeah. So now I'm going to be
problem.
polyamorous and make sure that I'm not, you know.
What was it? It was like, we're polyamorous, but now there's another one, because there's the dark one, there's the light one, and then there's the plain one. I'd be pissed if I got called the plain one.
I would be too. I'd be like,
what I'm plain?
So why am I here?
Nothing plain about me?
Yeah. So why am I here? What am I doing? Like, what's... I
just pictured myself, man, this is how dumb my brain is. I just pictured myself like coming out like all dressed up in all this weird shit and like a headdress and be like, how plain am I now?
How plain am I now, bitch?
Bitch.
Headdress.
Like, oh my God, with a button that all the feathers open when I say, how plain am I now?
Do like,
you want to see my Shakti? I'll show you my Shakti. My Amrita.
My Amarita.
My Amarita.
Look at the sun is shining now.
Yay. It's so happy. How long has this been?
We're at an hour and a half.
Okay.
Cool.
Sweet.
What did we
touch on the important stuff yet?
We haven't talked about this guy here yet.
Oh.
I don't know.
So I'm just very confused on, is this a pillow? Is this a backpack? And I don't want to sit on it if it's somebody's backpack, because it's rude. So it's just really confusing me, kind of like the spiritual leaders of our community. Warning, warning.
I'm going to zoom in on that part. It's going to be like, warning, warning.
And when we talk about that, the spiritual leaders of our community, like we're not even talking about any specific. We're talking about it as a whole, really.
Right.
Because, I mean, I'm even quote unquote a spiritual leader of the community, and I could be put in that category just as much. Yep. So we're just kind of pointing out some fun facts and things that we've experienced and gone through and see. And
as practitioners, as you know, like doing yoga and even massage is like its own spiritual thing in its own way. You really get to know these people. Yeah. You really get to hear their stories, and you know, It really is interesting, because as I think we're just very observant, and I know it's going to come off as we're maybe being judgmental with certain things. It's more just pointing out observations and coming truly from a place of love. Like, it's like, I don't know if that really makes any sense, but it's just...
Well, it makes sense to me because I'm doing it with you, so...
Yeah, right? I'm like,
might need to ask someone on the outside. No.
Well, okay.
It's okay to have an opinion, and it's also okay to speak the experiences that you've had and be authentic in talking about the things you've gone through, and what you feel now is something that you believe in.
Can we talk about the idea of the word judgment for a second?
Sure.
Okay. So I used to have, like, I've had this conversation a few times, and then it's gone back and forth. And then finally I was like, okay, you know what? Fine. Maybe I just need to own that. Like, okay, maybe I'm being judgmental in this thing. Right. So I remember I put you know how, okay, we were talking about Facebook earlier. You know how sometimes, like, all right, if you post something positive and happy, and like, people don't want to comment on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is like an in general thing.
Is that like when I post a picture of my ass and put a good blog and I get a bunch, but if I post a picture of a pretty flower in an even better blog, I don't get any?
Nothing. Yeah.
Nothing? Okay.
You're just like, oh, ass. Oh, cool. Yeah, got it. All right. Yeah, so you wouldn't get any responses on it. And then I posted something that had medical factual literature on circumcision, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, you know, I understand there's different religious practices. I understand certain things, but what is this really? Have we stopped all of that stuff and really looked at what we're doing?
Mm-hmm.
And I got jumped on by a couple moms that were like, are you saying I'm an awful parent because I circumcised my son? I'm like, I didn't write that.
Well, I feel like that's the shame and guilt underneath there somewhere. There's some kind of shame and guilt.
Exactly.
Because somebody taught me that the only time you're ever defensive is if there's some kind of shame and guilt coming up, and that if you need to constantly correct everyone, it's ego,
Mm-hmm.
and just let them have it. So like if you post that and I read it and I disagree with you and then I just leave it,
Mm-hmm.
there's no ego in it.
Right.
You're allowed
Right.
feel what you feel. Just like this whole thing, we're allowed to feel it. If you don't like it, turn it off. Don't listen anymore.
Right. Yeah. I think that's important. Yeah.
I mean, the only times that I've ever really like fought back is because I felt some kind of shame and guilt.
Right.
Somewhere.
If you're defending it, you have something you feel you need to defend.
Yeah.
Like, oh gosh, I feel ashamed. I did that, and maybe it wasn't the best choice, and maybe I didn't think it all the way through, and I just did it because it was something that I thought you do.
Right. And then they're so stuck in their belief system, their limited belief system, that they can't even see outside of it, that their subconscious actually does believe it and not that. And now they're ashamed that they believe that they're in this belief system, but they have to keep holding on to it because it's a choice that they made. That is that them saying stop. No.
You're like, you're going over time. There is no time limit. We're on shaman time.
Can we say so? Can I call myself a self-proclaimed shaman? Next time someone's like, I'm a shaman, like, I'm a self-proclaimed shaman.
Mm-hmm. I identify as a shaman.
I don't want the responsibility of a shaman.
No.
Do you know the responsibilities of them are like, I don't know. I have mad respect for it. I wouldn't want it. I told you she was going to call.
No.
I knew it.
Hello.
Crawling across.
No moach.
Oh yeah, lounge it out.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Lounge it out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, can we talk really quick, since we're mostly talking about authenticity, is the Thai body work that I do?
Yeah.
So you were mentioning that I never wanted to go to massage school because I didn't want to get into the anatomy and all that. It's like Latin. I barely speak English. It's not my first language.
Christianism is my first language.
Yes, thank you. So I'm not going to pick up on the Latin of all of that. So what I love about my teacher, Ariella, is how authentic that she is. She's so real. She does all of her Thai trainings, and she teaches what you need to know, and she teaches it in such a cool way, but she's super chill and relaxed. The cat came over and she reminds me of a cat. She loves cats. And everything is just like kneading and pawing and all that. And the way that she sets up all of her trainings are just so chill and so real. And that was another thing that helped me in my Kambo to just be more myself. And like seeing leaders like her, that she's just so fucking real and doesn't even get involved in anything to even be, I love that about her.
Well, it reminds me of when you were saying, like, with Kambo, the way that you were trained, it wasn't in a, from a notebook or a binder or anything like that. It was just like, yeah.
I love that he didn't do that.
Yeah.
I mean, when they flew in and they were doing some trainings here when I was with my ex and we were hosting, like I had made up a whole binder and stuff because we thought that it was the right thing to do. And then he was making up these certifications and all that. And it's just like, I look at that now and I'm like, God,
none of that stuff matters.
None of that shit matters.
Yeah.
And what does it matter to? Who does it matter to? The big companies or like nobody cares.
Yeah, like I have my like yoga certification thing and I have my like massage and I'm like they're all in a box in my closet.
Yeah, because you can have all of those certifications and then show up and be really bad at what you do.
Oh, for sure.
And not be able to hold space at all and not know what to do if somebody passes out and not, there's all these things, these factors. It's like,
well, I kind of thought that was cool that that's kind of like one of the things that is one of your gifts. I think you bring the medicine out in a certain way where like people are able to have these really deep healings. So,
thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I love it. I really do. I love serving it, and I serve it for free just as much as I do get paid, and because I believe in it so much, and I've just watched it really transform so many people's lives. And so, really quick combo because we never even said what it was. It's the secretion of the giant waxy tree frog. I'm not saying the other one. I already did in the beginning. You can scroll back. Phyllomedusa Bicolor. And you do a couple of burns on the top layer of this skin, and then you put the medicine on. It goes in through the lymphatic system, down into the heart, beats through the body. The cool thing about it is it goes through the blood barrier of the brain, which not many things do, hardly any pharmaceuticals. So it's able to get deeper to the healing, like faster and
which for the neurological issues like heavy metals that cross the blood-brain barrier,
it's able to kick those out. And that's so cool. And fungus and just any toxins that are in the body, it kind of just will dump it all into the stomach, and then you throw it up, you use the bathroom. But it's more powerful than just that. It's so much more than just the body. It's like a rite of passage because it's such a difficult thing to get through in 20 minutes. And I struggle still to this day. I'm like, I gotta sit down and do Kambo. I'm a better now that I'm at the frog. I can sit down now and not have anxiety and be like, all right, I trust. That was one of the biggest thing that Victor kept saying is trust. You have to trust the medicine. And I'm like, wow, he's not teaching us all of this other stuff that doesn't matter. He's teaching us to trust the medicine, and that matters the most.
Right.
It really does.
Right.
So the mental and physical, it also clears and opens, and your senses get heightened, and it helps with depression. And these are just things that it's helped me with: depression, anxiety, headaches, the things that I've watched it help people with, Lyme's disease, people with parasites. It's a big one. So big. So just cool fun fact, but you can look it up. Kambo. Okay, bye.
That was funny yesterday when we were doing the hape. Ross was like, I was like, did you do the green, like the fresh hape or the aparena?
The aparena is the fresh.
That is the fresh one. What's
it's the raw one. The other one is the kuntanawa.
Kuntanawa. Okay. So I was like, which one are you doing? He was like, I don't know, I'm doing a Kambo. And I was like, ha ha ha. Yeah.
I've been mixing the two together. Did you like the aparena?
I
did.
Raw
one?
I did.
I just thought that was so cool and it's green. It kind of looks like matcha.
It does. I like it.
It smells like
it
matcha
a lot.
too. I do too. I like it because it's like more of a heart opener. I had such a hard time with rapé when I first started using it. Tobacco in my system just did not like me. I struggled with all of these things in the beginning. I don't know if it was resistant. Like who the fuck knows? Right. It was just hard for me, but they've gotten a lot easier. But starting with the aparena because there's less tobacco or. I might be saying this wrong, but I heard two different things. One was that it's raw, so I guess in the rapé there's ash. So with this one, it's just raw. Oh. Yeah, so it's more of a heart opener, less tobacco, or maybe no tobacco, and then where the regular rapé is more head and.
Well, and I will say that I definitely didn't feel like the first two times because now I've done the. Do you call it the hape or rape?
I go back and forth.
I do too. Okay, because I've heard it both ways. And
it just depends. Orange, I don't know.
Right.
Well, one's from Brazil and then the other one, Peru. But I get all
Okay.
of my hape and sananga from
Hape, right, yeah.
from Brazil.
Brazil. In
Yeah.
Brazil, we call it hape.
Yes.
Okay. So the first 2 times, I was like fine with it. The second 2 times, I wonder if it's just because I did it back to back. I definitely could. It was like I could taste it for a while, and then I actually went home and did the neti pot after. And I don't know if that's probably not something you should do.
No, you
That's
can.
fine.
Maybe I didn't blow it hard enough.
Oh,
It's my
you could
fault.
taste it.
Look at me taking ownership of my fuck ups.
I love it.
Hashtag fuck up.
But I it's funny because
Was that to yesterday?
No, yesterday
Oh,
I
okay.
had no issue. Like I
Well,
was
that
like
was that.
totally,
That was Caprena.
Yeah, and I
Mhm.
love it. I was like, oh, and that's
I'm
almost
gonna give you
50-50.
some. Yeah, I'm gonna give you some. I love it.
You have to teach me how to actually, because you kind of use your tongue a little
Yeah,
bit.
you have to screw it up a lot, and then you'll get it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
just go for it. I'll teach it to you.
We
before I
should
leave it.
have done a little like ceremony
Oh
like
my
together
God,
like at
right.
the beginning or
Well,
something.
we can do one right after, and
Okay.
then we'll just add it on.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we'll do that.
Yay!
So I'm wondering if we're gonna have to do a part 2 at some point or something.
Heck yeah!
Because like there's so many more things like with the book. Like I know you're still in the process of writing it, so it's probably gonna be
yeah. Well, we just came up with the ending of it. What was it? I'll have to
The,
rewind and look.
the Alice in Wonderland, the
the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
And it's so fucking perfect because that was one of the big things and I have a whole chapter on I'm not quite Alice yet, because there's a whole part of the book where he would say to me, you're not quite Alice yet. And then I would be like, what else do I need to do? So I'm like, well, if I bring in some women and we're in polyamory and you can have what you want, then I can be Alice. Well, you're not quite Alice yet. Okay. Well, if I make a lot of money for us and I pay all the bills and I'm really good at what I do, then I can be Alice. Well, you're not quite Alice yet. It's like, wow, well, if I get really good at being a Kambo practitioner and I lead ceremonies and I'm really good at all of this stuff, then I can be Alice. You're not quite Alice yet. There's a whole thing on it. So that's perfect to end the book in. And he used to say that to me, you're not quite
And you know
Alice
what?
yet. And it's like, motherfucker.
Yeah. The healed masculine loves you as you are.
The healed masculine would say, I would never even put you in a category of limiting you to be one thing.
Mm-hmm.
You're Alice in all of the characters of Alice in Wonderland. Because the man that I'm with now, are you kidding me? Would never, on the other end of choosing yourself, because ultimately that's what I had to do at the end. Like, I loved him so much that I started getting infatuated with my love for him. And it just, I wasn't choosing me at all. I put myself aside completely.
You know what I think is interesting? That type of love is intoxicating.
It is intoxicating. Everything about it, the smell, the taste, the every little movement, the mannerisms, like it's intoxicating.
It is. And what's interesting is intoxicating has the word toxic.
Toxic. Oh, girl, can we remember that? I'm going to make that, put it a chapter, name that a chapter of one of my chapters.
Yeah.
Intoxicate. Fuck.
It's
That's
a spell.
beautiful.
It's like spell word.
Yeah.
Like it really, it's intoxicating.
Damn.
And intoxicating has the word toxic in it.
Well, when I finally,
It's a test.
It is a test, girl, for real. That's what I'm getting at. When I finally made the decision to like love myself and leave, like after he beat me and all of the physical abuse happened, it was like I sat there for a second and was like, wow, if I stay, I'm gonna end up not being me. I'm gonna throw myself into this and bow to my knees to him. And I'm strong. I will create the best polyamory relationship you've ever seen. I will bring in all the fucking money. Like I was getting like that, which meant I had to lose myself completely to become what he wanted me to
and
be.
Still, it would have been insatiable.
It would have been insatiable. It would have still not have been enough for him. No, never, no. So I had to choose myself, and thank God I did, and I left, and I went through some crazy stuff. I went out to California with some guy, like I just wanted to get out of there, and then I had to come back because this other guy was just he hates when I call him this guy, Victor. He was amazing. He held my container, and it was the first person that had ever held a container for me, and I freaked the fuck out. Yeah. Because here was a fully healed man standing in his power without the ego, just in full surrender, but still strong in himself. Didn't let me like fuck him over. Didn't let me cross boundaries, but just honor, just complete honor on top of honor on top of honor. And I'm like, what is this? Yeah. And it took me a minute because I had not been used to someone honoring me and holding my container. And I realized that is it, that the most powerful relationship that you can have with the person that you're going to be with is that the masculine holds the container of the feminine and lets her flow freely and never looks inside to see what she's doing.
Right.
It's beautiful. And now that my container is being held correctly, I'm able to flow into the most authentic version of myself that I've ever been, ever.
Right.
And now my abundance is flowing. The money is not an issue.
Yep.
Like the work is not an issue. I don't have to seek anything. It all comes to me. And it's all because my container is being held correctly, because I honored myself and loved myself. And I set a platform of what I would allow. And then the man showed up that can give that to me.
Right.
And he holds my container. And now I can really hold space for people.
Right.
Because you're being held. Also. I'm being held. Right. And I was trying to hold it all. And it's like, no wonder I was depleted and exhausted.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I love that so much.
I do too.
Yeah,
I do too. And then the baby, the pregnancy. I'm pregnant. So there's gonna be another me running around. Can you guys even believe it? I mean, I have a 20-year-old, but he's an adult.
Excited.
But like another little spirit. I am too, because I did such an amazing job with my son, and him and I are so close. And I love the relationship that we have, because it's not like so much mother-son, like It's more, he calls me and talks to me about everything. And when I found out, I called him first. Like, hey, let's talk about this for a second. Right. So it was pretty cool. But to be able to raise a child now, with the wisdom that I have and the solid integrity, and then the container that's being held for me, it's like I can have this child with so much joy, so much joy. So
that I can feel it, like that. That's so and that's beautiful, and it's that just makes me feel happy. I'm so happy to just Christy number 2.
I know.
Like mini you.
A mini me running around. I'll be like, here, hold this combo stick. Don't lick it.
Yeah, don't lick it. Don't put it in your eye.
Oh my God, that burns like a son of a bitch.
I was so scared yesterday. I was like, I had it on my finger. I was like, because I have this little cut.
Yeah, you asked me, you're like, is this okay? I'm like, not unless you're like bleeding from your hand.
Well, because I know when you do the burns, you don't actually go through, there's no bleeding at all.
No, it's
just
only the top layer. Yeah.
So if it were to get into a cut where you had the bloodstream,
but the space is so small. I don't think that it's not going to do anything. It's too small.
Okay.
You have to have a more of a wide open space for more medicine to get in. It wouldn't. Yeah. Enough wouldn't go in. I have someone microdosing, just doing 1 dot a day.
Oh, really?
He's trying to fight Lyme's disease, but it's actually my ex-husband. His stomach got flipped and turned upside down when he was younger and tied, so he can't throw up. So when you give him 3 dots, it's torture. So I was like, oh, I wonder if we just microdose. So he's been doing 1 dot a day, and he doesn't throw up. He gets the medicine in his system. He uses the bathroom a lot more. So we found a way to free flow it for him, which is cool. It's just something we've kind of figured.
And then he does the same thing. He leaves it on for the 20 minutes and all that.
Yeah. His face gets a little swollen and stuff, but he never gets a little bit nauseous, but he never has that needing to purge.
Right.
Because he can, and it's terrible. He's just this dry heave in there.
Yeah.
So
what about kids?
We served to a couple of kids in Peru. And then I also served to, I think 3 years old was the youngest that I served to.
That's what I thought, yeah.
The girl, she got pregnant in Peru, so it's a Peruvian baby. And she wanted it for vaccination reasons. Right. I just did 1 dot.
Yeah.
And he was fine. He was so cute. He's just sitting there. He drank the water too.
Yeah.
Not as much, obviously, but he was just sitting there, and he's like, I feel funny. And he's just looking around, and he's like, so weird. And then he just kind of didn't throw up or anything. And,
Do you do a smaller dot too? Do you try to make it as small as possible?
On him, I did, because I was nervous and I had never really served a child before. But then I watched Victor and Natasha do it with their son, and he got a full dot, and he threw up a little bit. So, but after Peru, I was really taught not to be afraid of the medicine, and then I'm also in my intuition the most I've ever been. So. I don't.
And that's what you've always said to me, is just trust the medicine. And that I got nervous the first time. I was nervous the first time, but the first time was the easiest for me. Kambo was gentle with me.
Oh, nice.
And there's going back to that divine feminine and masculine, like the first 2 times were the feminine frog, and then the second 2 times were a masculine frog, and there was a different energy, but there were also other things there that I was going through. I was recognizing some of my own things that I was in that maybe weren't the greatest place to be. And I had that in my mind where I was like, I don't know about certain things. And then I struggled and I had some anxiety that came up with it. But every time I was fine.
Yeah.
Every time I was fine.
Yeah.
And so it's funny, like, it's interesting because you told me that 4th time in the morning, you said, I get the same way right before.
I do. I'm telling you, I get the worst out of anybody. Like,
Wow.
I struggled with Kambo for a long time. I think I did my best in Peru, the best I ever did. Like,
and that's when you did self-administered.
And that's when I self-administered. Yeah. You have to trust it.
Yeah. No, it's you really
It's
do.
hard. It's hard. It's scary. I still, like, if I had to sit down with it right now before I do it, my heart will start pumping. I'll get anxiety and freaking out. Like, because now I welcome the power that it brings me to clear things that are not of me, for me to even stand more authentic. So I welcome that power. And sometimes we can be afraid of that. We can be afraid of, wow, what is that going to look like for me to be even more authentic? Or what is it going to look like for me to not be sick any longer? Like, that's a big one.
People are like, an attachment to being sick. And I had that. I identified with, when, I this and this, or I identify with these symptoms, or I identify with that, or even now, like, having this, like, allergy to garlic and onion, like, I'm like, I don't really want to identify with that. It's like, okay, but at this point I still have to practice caution because, like, if I do at this point, and maybe it would be a little better now. I haven't tried it since, doing Kambo or anything, but
well, I mean, it's just something that you are. Like, I'm 5'8", that's it.
Right.
I can't make myself taller or shorter.
Right.
So you're allergic to onions. It's okay.
Right.
Who even cares about onions anyway?
They're on the blacklist of Buddhism. If you,
who eats garlic? We're vampires.
Vampires.
Oh, we are not vampires. No. We know some vampires.
Yep.
In the next session that we do, we have to talk about the exorcism and all of that that I experienced. That's a crazy story. I have a crazy story.
We definitely need to have part 2. We also, whenever, like, after, like, post-pregnancy, post-breastfeeding, all of that, we need to actually truly, I feel like we're Kambo sisters in a different way, but I want to experience it with you.
Kambo with you. Yeah. Yes, I would love to. Yeah. You know what I said when I got pregnant, like the 3rd or 4th thing I thought, I don't have to do Kambo for over a year.
Well, maybe I'll be ready by that time.
Yeah.
Because I kind of feel like I've done what I've needed to do with it. I've worked with the medicine to where, I was around it all weekend. I had plenty of opportunities to partake, but it didn't resonate. But Sananga and Hape did.
And that is a perfect thing to bring up, because I think a lot of people are doing these medicines when they don't really need to be doing them, thinking that they should be doing it just because another ceremony is coming around and they don't want to be left out. But if you don't feel like, if you don't truly feel the calling of this is for me, why do it? Why waste the medicine? Right. Like, that's a thing. What it takes to get the medicine from those frogs is so sacred, and to waste any of it, to just do it because it's the next cool thing, it's not cool.
Yeah. And having that
be
intention
cool,
of
okay?
Yeah, just be cool.
Just
being cool
just
is
be cool.
Being cool isn't what you think it is. Well, it reminds me of, like, the whole peer pressure aspect, like, it's like sometimes in the spiritual community, and I've had this thought at times, but but I was aware of it, and I was like, just observed it. I was like, interesting thought. Definitely doesn't resonate as true. That's probably not one of my actual thoughts. It was just a thought. Like, sometimes we just have thoughts that go by. And there's been times where I've been sitting talking with people that have done, ayahuasca. And I have not partaken in ayahuasca yet. So it's come up a lot the last year. And I do feel at some point I will meet that medicine, but I know it's not time yet. And that's what I honor. I don't honor or pay any attention to these thoughts of, oh, wow, I'm the only one here that hasn't done that. Like,
I wish that I haven't done it. I wish I never did it. No, I don't mean it like that. But I wish that I would be in that place of, like, hey, I haven't done this yet. Like, what a beautiful place to be able to honor where you're at,
Right.
and not follow the crowd.
Right.
Because, and I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I find myself looking at myself saying like, I should be doing this and this and this, and I should be doing that, and I should this and I should blah blah blah, and it's like, because I don't feel enough,
Right.
because everyone's doing so much. But then I
Right.
realize like the true authentic peace and everything is less,
Right.
less,
And
simplify.
And the fact that like making sure that you have the right administration of it.
God, I know.
Like that scares me.
That
actually.
scares me.
Like if it hadn't been you for Kambo, I may have waited.
Oh,
You know, like and I met you, and that's what I was like. Anytime I've told her. You did that the other day.
You totally
like,
side-eyed me.
Oh yeah, like you were like here, and you like did this, and I was like,
You did. You were in there like talking to somebody, and you're like, I see you.
I feel your love. But yeah, like that's, you know, I've shared with people, I'm like, dude, she's so nurturing, she's so authentic. Like you are going to be, your space is going to be held well. And that was something that Ross texted me this morning. He was, you know, like at first he was like, yeah, it was nice to have somebody participate with, because he had a friend that did it with him. And then of course, yesterday for the second time, there were 4 of us that we didn't partake in the Kambo, but we did the other 2 medicines. And then today he was able to do it by himself. And he was like, it was really nice to have a one-on-one because she holds space so well.
Aww.
You know, and I was like, no, like, I totally get that. Like you really do. And you can tell you care, but you're also, you don't show fear. You show that you've got this, like you are capable of holding space.
That was the greatest thing that my teacher taught me, was to trust the medicine. And I do.
Yeah.
How can I not, after looking in that frog? How can I not?
Right.
It is so much. I love it. Like, oh, I got to download. Like, okay, my Kundalini downloaded, but honestly, when I connected with it, it was like something opened. In my field, and
It gave you permission.
it gave me permission that that's it. It became authentic, and my whole being is about authenticity.
You'll have to send me that video so I can add it in.
I will.
I will.
love
I
it.
tried to download it, I think, from like your Facebook page or something, and it
I
was
think
a weird
I emailed
quality.
it to you.
Okay, I'll check my email.
Yeah.
again.
You
Okay.
got it. You got it. Cool.
Well,
All
we'll
right.
have to do round 2.
Round 2 next
Yeah.
time. That was
Yeah.
fun.
I
Thank
love you.
Love
You're
you
welcome.
too. Aww.
You got a little drive home now.
Oh, I do. Yeah. I have to pee so bad.
Okay. Hey, that was my first 2-hour-long interview.
How long are they normally?
Like an hour, 15 minutes.
You can look it up. They take the roots of this bush and they grind it down and they make it into a liquid. We put the liquid 1 drop into each eye and it burns like a son of a gun for about, how long would you say?
5 minutes.
5 minutes?
That's
Tell
okay.
him that.
No, not that much. Like 3 minutes.
A couple of minutes. It goes by pretty quick.
Feels like a minute and a half.
Yeah.
Like the minute is the worst part, and then it's like
Yeah, then it starts to relieve a little bit. It's cool because sometimes like all these emotions come up. Like I have a lot of rage inside of me naturally, so I get all of this like anger that comes up, and I'm just like, blah! And it's nice because you get to relieve it and let it out. We're taught in society so much to keep everything inside, that it's not okay to act out, it's not okay to have emotions, anger is bad, and none of that stuff is true. We're allowed to express ourselves. Expressing ourselves within the right area of our lives. So Sananga helps us to be able to do that in a safe environment. So we drop the Sananga into the eyes and it goes into the pineal gland and it begins to decalcify it. So the pineal gland, if you don't know, is your direct to source. Yeah, to God. So when it's calcified, it has all this junk over it, which society does it, our food does it, our environment does it. We begin to be further and further away from our true self and away from our source. So this helps to just start to take layers of that off of the eyes and the pineal gland. It also is amazing if you suffer with headaches, anxiety, depression. All of these things are all just a bunch of energy and emotion that is stuck in our body and stagnant in some place. The Sananga goes in and it helps to I was just gonna say unstagnify it.
I like that.
do
I
too.
like that.
It means to unstagnify it. So I really like working with Sananga. I worked with it mostly I had very bad migraines, like the visual disturbances. My whole left side of the body would go numb. And my whole life I've had to deal with that. And yoga and hot yoga has helped them to be under control. But I found Sananga, and once I started to get one, because like my vision will kind of go double before it starts, so that I know it's coming, and that's a good hour to 2 hours of my life that I have to stop, and like I'll go blind. There's nothing I can do. Sananga, when I start feeling that double vision, I drop into my eyes and nothing happens. It stops it completely.
You just do one drop?
It's a miracle. Yeah, one
One
drop
of each
eye,
okay.
And it switches it up completely. And my whole life I've been searching for something like that. Medications, this, that, every single thing. I thought Kambo would change it. I thought ayahuasca would change it. Like nothing changed it but Sananga. And it's just really cool. It's a cool medicine to shift things. So if you're in a mood, if you're like feeling a certain way that you don't want to feel any longer, you drop this in the eyes and it shifts you instantly. So we're gonna start with this. And then we're gonna go to the rapé. Has anyone used rapé before? Yeah, Sananga? Yeah, okay, none of you guys, perfect. So rapé is a tobacco. I have two kinds. I have aparena, and then these darker ones are the ones from the Kutanawa tribe. These have more tobacco in them, and these are raw. So the aparena comes on the side of a river, and it only grows a couple of months out of the year. It's very difficult to find the like raw, authentic version of it. So I finally got some in, which I'm super excited about. This is complete heart opening, and I have a whole write-up I can send you guys about these after. And then the aparena is more of a heart opening body high, and then the Kuntanawa is more of a head high, and it just has more tobacco in it. So if you're not used to tobacco, I would mix a little of the two, but give you mostly the aparena. So we'll play around and work with it.
Excited. That's how I feel about rapé.
The rapé drops you into your body. It grounds you completely. I love that. That's what you
Even
said,
the heady
it's like
one.
grounding. Both of them.
Both of them, yeah.
completely. So the yes, they're both, but the aparena is
Because you
gonna
get
go
that
into the
feeling.
heart more, too.
You get that feeling of groundedness, but you're also the heady one. You're very like, oh, but you can feel yourself tethered to the earth still.
Yes, absolutely. Because what it's doing is expanding the energy. It's expanding and it's clearing the field. So I love giving this to people that don't believe in energy or haven't really experienced it. And I was like, okay, well, I'll try this.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
When they try it, they're like, shit, my energy goes outside of my body.
Yeah.
Like, I felt this out here and I felt myself drop in here. It's just a realignment. All of these things are realignments to balance yourself.
And it's purely energetic, which is cool. Like you said, it's not a psychedelic out of your body. It's a true, just like you feel your energy expanding.
Yes.
Yeah,
I feel
love
like
it.
this, and I was in this ball of energy when I was sitting. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
So they say that your true state of being, that you should actually be feeling like this consistently. So when you feel, and the reason that we feel high when we do this is because we're not used to being in that vibration and so open and balanced. So it brings everything into balance. It shows you the authentic version of where you should naturally be every day. And then this gives you a reference point that you can work with daily to say, okay, this is a reference point of where I want to be today. I like to do it in the morning, or when somebody really pisses me off, or when I'm working with a lot of energy, or when I'm sad. I mean, everything. Any kind of emotion that I may be in, if I need to balance it or shift it, I'm going to do this. You're gonna love this, by the way.
You will love that.
You will love this. I want to do it to you first because I cannot wait for you to experience it. Because especially when you're younger, your field is already so open and you're highly intelligent. So you're gonna really open up to this, and you guys are gonna have a good relationship. Relax the body. This Sananga is from Brazil.
I don't even know. My skills everywhere.
It looks great.
The warrior look.
Get to the point where you're like, I know exactly the layers that are about to come off. Because you can see the layers, like almost the density, like layering as things are happening in life now. And I'm like, oh, can't wait for some Kambo again. Like, I know. Alright.
Can I start with you?
Oh, sure.
I'll explain what it is.
Okay.
We see pleasure, aren't we?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. But yes, you know what the beautiful thing about indigenous practices is that you are receiving the pleasure with it, so there's a good balance, and we're taught that, you know, pleasure is better than pain. Yeah. Did you think I was gonna?
I thought you were gonna take leave my head back in your back.
You know, girl.
Oh,
Terry, you're cool if I do this, right?
Huh?
You're cool. You probably want this, right? You don't care? Okay.
yeah, I do want to actually.
Okay, alright. I figured you would.
Don't
You want me to show you? Okay, okay.
I'll explain it first. So I'm gonna put some into the pipe. You're gonna just take a breath in and hold the breath, and kind of put your tongue to the back of your throat, because you don't want it to go down your throat. You want it to go up into your pineal gland. So however you think in your own mind how to close off your throat, do that. So you'll take a breath in, close off the throat. I put like the tongue at the roof of my mouth. Yeah, perfect. You did it. And then you just hold, and I'll blow it into one side. But the first time that you do it, it's a little weird. It might burn a tiny bit at the temples, but take a second, breathe out in and out through the mouth, and then I'll move to the second side. We have to do both sides so we balance you. So we'll try to do the second side within like 30 seconds. Yes. She's like, I think. And I'm gonna do a tiny prayer before we do this.
Do I breathe in when it's in my nose or before?
You're gonna take a breath in and hold your breath, and then I do it. So you do that.
Tell me when to do it.
Okay, we're gonna do it together. Ready? Take a breath in, hold your breath, just hold. Exhale through the mouth. And you can spit, you don't want to swallow. So if you have to hack or whatever you need to do.
Tastes like green tea. Damn. Okay, wait.
Inhale. Hold. Exhale through the mouth. And then just remember, if it's coming down the back of your throat, spit. And just relax with it.
Tiene que ir
Okay, thank you.
Need your water.
Last line. Tiana, you gotta try it. Next time, I'm gonna bring you down. You can do it this week.
I told you, like.
Brazilian medicine.
We're moving
We're
to.
gonna have 7 kids together and a foster child. I know.
There's 5 people. Wow.
It's good stuff.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Y'all gotta try this. You should really invite me again.
Braided.
Well, he also got it.
I'll give you a hug in a second.
Oh, that part. There's a lot that went on. It's like,
Doing this.
I work communicator. Like to help us out.
Your energy is so like flowery, and like I can feel it going through, and when something's stagnant, you
just like water it through. And no, I'm not.
It's a lot of it.
I'm spiritually.
Yeah.
I do not have him.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get it for
Oh, you're getting
in
it.
my hand so I can stop doing this whole.
Okay, Mama?
Oh my god.
You okay?
Yeah, it burns.
You should try this out. So was the last time you guys tried it? Yeah, it was about.
Have you ever had tobacco in your system?
Of course.
Okay.
My body should be fine with it.
Yes. Do you have a bucket?
Yeah.
So on the next side, you want to hold the breath and block the back of the throat off.
Oh, dude.
It's the worst.
How are you?
Good to see you. Good to see you too.
Yeah, when it goes right down the throat.
I know.
That side just has so much to process for him. Oh, you're okay.
So inhale and hold your throat out.
Best face ever. I've never seen a face like
This
that.
shit looks strong.
She told me
You're okay.
she told me it was lighter. I'm like,
Slow, baby.
Maybe it's just the group.
I think I just inhaled
Come on
something.
in.
I heard Brian had a really good experience. Yeah. You know what else good doctors? Dude, it got all
Is she okay?
Very
collected it herself.
pure and strong. So we don't have to work with a whole lot of it either. I'm gonna start with you three. We're gonna get her going just because she's already feeling nauseous. And then I'll move on to three more. We're gonna do it kind of in a wave. Once I see that they're good, after the first about 10 minutes, then we'll move forward. So you have to drink about 1.5 liters of water. So that's very important. Probably the most important aspect of this process is the water. So you take the water in and then you allow yourself to purge out, and that's the process. Kambo will do the work for you, but it also asks you to meet it halfway. So you have to have a good relationship with the flow of the energy that's happening during the process. If you're feeling stuck at any moment, drink the water. If you're feeling scared, drink the water. If you're feeling Like you wanted to end, drink the water. So the water is the answer to everything.
Life.
Yes.
Existence.
Yes. So I'm gonna make between 1 to 3 dots on each of you on the arm. We're just gonna work on the arms today, and so that it goes into the lymphatic system. It'll let the heart rate start coming up, so the heart's gonna start beating pretty quickly to bring the blood to go through the body, to get the medicine to go through the body. The organs will start to wring out all of the toxins, everything will dump into the stomach, and then you'll either throw it up or you'll go use the bathroom, depending on how much I give you. We think that the progress is the purging. It's not. If you're not purging, it's okay. Allow the medicine to work. If you feel like you're just stuck, then you can help yourself purge, but you want to let the medicine work for at least the first 5 to 8 minutes before that process. Just sit with it. It's okay to feel nauseous in this. This is what we're gonna feel. This is why we're here.
Have you ever had anyone not vomit, or it's pretty
Yes.
pretty certain?
I have had people not vomit. It's not very often. So, like, we're only gonna give her 1 dot. She probably will not vomit today. Maybe, it just depends. She'll probably do great with it. We're just gonna get the medicine in her system.
Sounds good.
She's definitely gonna vomit.
You'll feel better.
She's feeling pretty
Yeah.
You moved a lot of energy in that.
You brought me.
You're gonna feel better after the.
We're all in this together.
It's
Yeah.
getting well, not getting sick.
Exactly.
It's getting well, not getting sick
Exactly.
every time.
So
love
thinking of
that.
it, thank you.
Yeah.
Thinking of it like that, we're removing things in our space, physically, mentally, spiritually, that does not belong there. That's stopping our progress from being the best version of ourselves that we can be. Kambo is here to cleanse, and that's all fields. So
You have a lovely home, by the way.
it's not my home; it's her.
Oh, I love this room. Yeah. It's perfect.
You're in really good hands. I trust this medicine with my life.
Give me an extra
I had a very hard relationship with it in the beginning, so Kambo and I have been through all aspects of the medicine, so we're gonna do okay here. Just so that you guys are aware, so you don't freak out, the blood pressure goes up and down. There is a possibility that you can pass out. It's just Kambo saying, I'm gonna put you down for a second so I can reset you. So it's a blessing. So if you do see someone passed out, and when the body shuts out like that, normally it kind of seizes anyways, the eyes kind of roll. That's totally natural when the body is shutting down like that. So don't be scared and get nervous for the person. Have gratitude for it, because it's a blessing that happens. You can get tetany, where the hands kind of come in, the nerve endings are working in the body. So we're just taking all of the nerves and resetting them. So there's a lot of things that are gonna happen, you're gonna feel, and just embracing it. You're gonna do absolutely fine with this if you do not fight it. The moment that you begin to fight the medicine fights you back.
And it'll win.
And it will win every time. So this is your rite of passage to surrender, to trust in the medicine, to trust in this process. People have been doing this for thousands of years. So
A lot longer than pharmacists.
absolutely,
Yeah.
100%. So if you pop things in your mouth constantly, like that, this is nothing compared to that. The dangers of that are far worse. So there's nothing but love and light in this room.
Just let go and breathe.
Yeah. You're not going to want to drink the water when I say drink the water. If I get a little pushy with you, it's only because I'm helping you. So don't take it personal. Alright.
So I'm gonna go over to that side of the room, because you're gonna do these 3, right? Right. So we're gonna go a little jam on the doorway over to the bathroom.
Maybe a bottle butter she'll bite.
Yeah. Of course. First meal today.
You want to go first? So let me explain it to you. No, you don't smoke it. We're gonna put a small burn on your skin, and then we're gonna put the medicine on. Very kinky, actually. Girl, I'm real kinky. I embrace that. side of myself
Oh,
too.
here you go.
We were talking about that this morning. Just let it
Yeah,
go.
we were.
Just
Let me explain what's going to happen first so that you understand. We're just going to put 1 dot for you today. You're going to drink about 1.5 liters of water. I'm going to put the medicine on. You're going to feel the heart rate start to go up. You are going to feel nauseous for a period of time, and you may throw up a little bit, but I think that this is going to be a lot of energetic for you. So you're going to feel a lot of things that are just not comfortable. So it's not going to be as great as the rapé, but afterwards is where the real work begins. So allowing yourself to be really uncomfortable for the next 20 minutes, but then realizing that the work that this does in your system for 21 days is profound. So you're helping yourself heal yourself. Okay. So you want to grab some water behind you. Do you want to go too? So drink about.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Thank you for showing up for you. What's her name?
Tiana.
What's that Tiana?
Yeah, Tiana. Kind of mad you're not here, but that's okay.
I'm gonna go get you a big lady.
Oh, that would be great. I'm struggling.
a fan.
Sorry, honey.
She's on fire. That's why.
That's probably as bad as my dad.
So just putting your intention in the front of your mind. Just relaxing. Embracing all the emotions that you're experiencing. Deep breaths in. Set an intention. Something that you'd like to see become different and easier in your life. Be okay to throw it out really quick. You ready? All you have to do is breathe, okay? Breathe. Trust and breathe. Yes. You're perfect and whole just as you are. Say it. I'm perfect and whole just as you are. How much water do you have?
I have this entire bottle, and then I put a little bit more in here. There anytime. You still looking for it?
Lay down now, sweetie, and relax. You want to take the medicine? Breathe in, drink water. Oh, sorry. Oof. Whoops. Just burning it away for you.